What if the tools we find in the dirt are not the true reflection of ancient capabilities? Imagine a world where bronze chisels and stone hammers were supposedly used to carve hard granite with the precision of a modern CNC machine. Across the globe, we encounter megalithic structures featuring interlocking joints so tight that a human hair cannot pass between them, and stones weighing over 1,000 tons transported from miles away. These are not just buildings. They are anomalies that defy the laws of primitive labor. We are left to wonder what lost method of softening stone or defying gravity has been erased from the record. Today we investigate the impossible engineering of the ancients and the silence that surrounds their greatest achievements. If you've ever thought that strange lands only exist in fairy tales or science fiction, try setting foot in Tsingy de Bemaraha, where razor-sharp limestone spires soar skyward like millions of fossilized blades, forming an impregnable natural fortress and a maze stretching across hundreds of square kilometers in western Madagascar. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1990, Tsingy de Bemaraha is not only a natural treasure of Africa, but also a living mystery for scientists, explorers, and anyone with a spirit of adventure. If you stood in the middle of Tsingy de Bemaraha, what would be your first thought? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. From above, Tsingy de Bemaraha appears as a colossal stone forest. Millions of sharp, silver-gray peaks stand close together, forming sheer walls and towering spires packed like ancient weapons, thrust upside down into the earth. The Malagasy people call this place Tsingy, meaning where one cannot walk barefoot, highlighting the deadly sharpness of the rocks and expressing both fear and awe for this treacherous land. Anyone who has witnessed sunset over the Tsingy when the last red rays of sunlight sweep across the jagged peaks, creating a magnificent and chilling play of light and shadow, will understand why this place is regarded as the arena of the gods, a site that is both beautiful and a formidable challenge for humanity. The frightening exterior of the stone forest is just part of the story. The system of caves, deep fissures, sinkholes, and dark chasms beneath the towers means that most of Tsingy de Bemaraha is almost impenetrable. Only the most seasoned explorers, equipped with ropes, carabiners, and specialized climbing gear, can access a small part of this maze. Most of the deep inner areas remain uncharted territory, where life and perhaps mysteries never before known still lie hidden. Many local stories tell of people who ventured into the stone forest and never returned. Some legends say that those who become lost in the Tsingy maze are forever taken by the spirits of the stone or ancient deities guarding the land. What troubles scientists most about Tsingy de Bemaraha isn't just the treacherous terrain, but the mystery behind the formation of this vast, one-of-a-kind stone forest in the world. To create those razor-sharp limestone towers, standing 70 to 100 meters high, arranged in endless rows of stone blades, nature had to patiently sculpt for tens of millions of years through countless cycles of geological, chemical, and climatic change. The history of Tsingy begins on the ocean floor around 200 million years ago, when this region still lay beneath the sea. At that time, thick limestone layers, formed mainly from the tiny remains of marine organisms such as coral shells and algae, compressed over long periods into strata hundreds of meters thick, like stacked carpets of fossils. Later, due to tectonic shifts of the Earth's crust, this limestone foundation was gradually lifted above water, turning into a dry plateau. This uneven uplift caused many areas to crack, creating deep fissures, sometimes dozens of meters deep, which became the seeds for today's mysterious cave and crevice systems. But the real miracle that shaped Tsingy is water itself. Once exposed to the surface, each rainstorm containing mild acids from atmospheric CO2 dissolved into rainwater, continuously eroded and dissolved the limestone. Over time, those seemingly harmless droplets carved away millimeter by millimeter, centimeter by centimeter, gradually forming deep grooves, razor-sharp ridges, and countless towers like sharp blades. This process is known as karstification, a rare global phenomenon where limestone is eroded so intensely that it transforms into a giant stone forest. However, what puzzles scientists is why in Tsingy is the erosion so extraordinarily uniform and sharp, while in other famous karst areas, such as China or Vietnam, the terrain tends to be cone-shaped hills rather than these super-dense, ultra-sharp blade forests. In some parts of Tsingy, every square meter contains dozens of stone blades with almost no empty space at all. A super-dense phenomenon that's difficult to explain, both physically and chemically. More curiously, erosion rates at different depths still maintain a strange synchrony, making the entire stone forest look as if it has been precisely sculpted by some colossal machine. The deep caves below to this day remain largely unexplored. There may well be many more levels of caves, underground lakes, or even ancient animal fossils, or traces of cycles of flooding and retreat never before discovered. Some fringe theories even ask, could there have been some extraordinary natural events, such as acidic gas eruptions from underground or violent uplift, combined with ancient tsunamis that helped carve out those razor-sharp stone blades much faster than we have ever imagined? For millions of years, the treacherous and isolated stone forest has fostered the development of unique plant and animal species found nowhere else. Deep fissures shelter green oases, pockets where plants and moss thrive, though above lies barren limestone. There are dozens of endemic species, meaning they live only in Tsingy, like various lemurs, reptiles, bats, and insects. Many remain mysterious. Deccan's Sifaka lemur, Propithecus deccani, a species that dances across the stone with nearly supernatural agility among the sharp peaks. Insects, lizards, bats, never recorded elsewhere, perfectly adapted to the blade terrain and cavern darkness. Tsingy is an isolated island of evolution where creatures have developed extraordinary adaptations to survive in extremely harsh conditions. Though nearly uninhabitable, archaeologists have found stone tools, animal bones, even traces of ancient fires in some caves within Tsingy. This astonishes researchers. How did our ancestors cross this maze, or how did they survive in such a forbidding and forbidden place? Some local legends tell of groups fleeing war, famine, or pursuit, hiding in the stone forest and never re-emerging. Whether true or not, ancient tools, pottery shards, and fossilized bones frozen in time within these caves suggest that Tsingy was once the last refuge for certain ancient peoples. To this day, most of Tsingy de Bemaraha remains unexplored. Some areas are blank spots on the map, never set foot on, never scanned by any device. The caves, underground lakes, and deep sinkholes remain mysteries. Who knows, there may be ancient animal fossils, rare minerals, or archaeological treasures yet to be found. Even current karstification rates are a mystery. In some places, scientists have measured erosion at just a few millimeters per thousand years, but in other areas, it accelerates inexplicably with no clear reason why. The near-perfect block uniformity between different zones, each row of sharp rocks almost perfectly aligned, appears unnatural compared to all other karst systems in the world, leading many to wonder, is there a natural law here that science has yet to understand? Tsingy de Bemaraha is not only a natural wonder of Madagascar, but also a precious outdoor laboratory for scientists studying geology, evolution, and ecology. It attracts researchers from around the world who come to investigate the formation of the stone forest, the unique adaptations of its wildlife, and traces of climate changes throughout Earth's history. However, conserving Tsingyi's ecosystem is a major challenge in the face of threats from tourism, wildfires, and climate change. Fortunately, thanks to its rugged terrain, most of the stone forest has remained pristine and mysterious, a silent message from nature to humanity. Tsingy de Bemaraha stands as a testament to the extraordinary power of nature and remains one of the greatest geological mysteries on Earth. The process behind the formation of this stone forest still has no definitive explanation, making it a black box that preserves the ancient secrets of our planet. For anyone who sets foot in Tsingy, a sense of awe and curiosity about the unknown is ever present, a powerful reminder of nature's endless wonders and mysteries. On the central plateau of Mali, where the Sahel transforms from arid grassland into towering cliffs, rises one of the world's most astonishing sights of archaeology, history, religion, and even astronomy, the Cliff of Bandiagara. Stretching over 150 kilometers and standing between 100 and 500 meters high, this wall of stone is not only a natural wonder, but also a repository of thousands of years of human civilization. Its mysteries still leaving scientists and explorers perplexed and amazed to this day. What do you think is the greatest mystery of the Bandiagara cliff? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. At first glance, Bandiagara appears as a grand cliff, much like hundreds of others worldwide, but only up close do its impossible wonders become clear. Clay houses, granaries, tombs, and temples stack atop one another, clinging to every crevice and ledge, often in places unreachable even with modern climbing equipment. Sheer walls, winding narrow paths, hidden passageways through the rock, and lofty alcoves, all are the work of ancient hands, shaped in an environment nearly uninhabitable. Behind this wild beauty lies a silent, ancient world waiting to be deciphered. Centuries ago, the Dogon, now the region's most famous people, built an entire civilization on these cliffs, isolated, unique, unlike any other African community. However, the Dogon were not the first to set foot on Bandiagara. The precarious tombs, perched in rock alcoves dozens of meters up, belong to the Tlatilco, an earlier civilization that almost completely vanished without trace, leaving behind only enigmatic ruins and questions. How did they build in Bam and move the dead up the cliffs? Countless pots, textiles, and remarkably preserved mummies are all that remain after nearly a millennium. To this day, no one knows for certain who the Tlatilco were, where they came from, where they went, or how they managed to place coffins, mummies, and objects in such inaccessible places. When the Dogon migrated in, they inherited these Tlatilco relics, adapting and expanding them with new houses, granaries, and tombs, while developing a worldview and mythology interwoven with everyday life, ancient rituals, and a knowledge base that far exceeded that of surrounding communities. The most striking feature of Bandiagara is the hundreds of villages, granaries, and tombs built directly into the cliff face. Many houses jut out on rock ledges 10 to 30 meters above the ground, with no path reachable only by climbing ropes or makeshift scaffolding. This raises great questions about the organization, technology, and spiritual strength of ancient peoples. The oldest tombs belong to the Tlatilco, the more recent villages to the Dogon. Hundreds of granaries are built as small towers of baked earth and thatched roofs meant to deter thieves and animals, preserving food for years. Together, they form a living museum, every nook and wall, a witness to millennia of civilization. Among the greatest mysteries of the cliff of Bandiagara, the most remarkable is the Dogon's out-of-time astronomical knowledge. What they know about the universe, the stars, especially the Sirius system, continues to stun the world and spark endless debate. The richest Dogon legends are about the Nommo, half-human, half-fish gods said to have come from the sky, specifically the dog star Sirius. According to Dogon elders, their ancestors received knowledge from these deities, including agriculture, construction, mask-making, weapons, and most remarkably, astronomy and cosmology. The Dogon believed that Nommo came to Earth from a small, very heavy star, invisible to the naked eye, always accompanying a bright large star, which describes Sirius A, the brightest star in the night sky, 8.6 light-years away, and Sirius B, a small, dense, white dwarf, invisible to the eye. What is most shocking is this: centuries ago, the Dogon already knew Sirius is a binary, possibly triple star system. They knew about Sirius B's 50-year orbit around Sirius A, that Sirius B is small but heavier than all matter on Earth, its elliptical orbit, and even its exact distance. These facts were only confirmed by Western astronomers in the 19th and 20th centuries using modern telescopes, spectrographs, and complex calculations. So how, in this remote, bookless, telescopeless region, did the Dogon possess such precise scientific details so long ago? Did they truly receive knowledge from a higher civilization, or is there some other secret hidden in their legends? Beginning in the 1930s and continuing through the 1950s, French anthropologists such as Marcel Griaule and Germaine Dieterlen meticulously recorded conversations with Dogon elders, documenting remarkably detailed descriptions of the Sirius star system. Its components, with Po Tolo referring to Sirius B and Sigi Tolo to Sirius C, and even orbital diagrams, concentric circles illustrating the 50-year orbit of Sirius B around Sirius A. Researchers asserted that this knowledge was far beyond the reach of a culture without access to modern astronomical instruments. Since then, the Western world has erupted in debate. Did missionaries, traders, or Western scientists pass on this information to the Dogon before Griaule's documentation? However, records show that much of this information had never been revealed in Mali prior to those interviews. Some believe the Dogon may have observed unusual phenomena, such as the twinkling of Sirius caused by the movement of Sirius B around Sirius A. But how could they have known the precise physical parameters and orbital cycles? A few radical theories even suggest an extraterrestrial origin for the Dogon's knowledge, or propose the existence of an ancient form of intelligence not yet recognized. Every 60 years, the Dogon hold the Sigi Festival, a ritual lasting several years symbolizing Sirius B's orbit around Sirius A. This massive event gathers all Dogon villages along the cliffs with mask rituals, dances, storytelling, reenacting the ancestors' descent from the small star, and crafting Sigi masks and cosmic symbols. Sigi is not only a religious festival, but a living cosmic map passed down through generations. Archaeologists have found countless astronomical symbols carved into house walls, granary doors, tools, wooden statues and masks, concentric circles, stars, water droplets, double spirals. Many closely resemble modern astronomical diagrams. Notably, concentric closed circles expanding outward represent Sirius B's orbit around Sirius A. Zigzag lines show star movement. Some Dogon legends even mention a third star, Sirius C, which modern science has only recently considered possible. Where did the Dogon really get such superior knowledge? Did they truly access some source beyond their era? Or is this the result of deep cultural accumulation, spiritual beliefs, observation, and remarkable imagination. Whatever the answer, the serious mystery has turned the cliff of Bandiagara into a real-world center of cosmic mystery beyond even the likes of Atlantis or El Dorado. The Dogon are famous for their mask rituals, damasigi, wooden Nomo statues, cliffside dances, and ceremonies for the dead. All are centered on cosmic cycles, ancestor worship, and strong ties to the stars, especially Sirius. Masks up to 2 meters long, fish-headed statues, boat-like spaceships all relate to ancestral legends from the Sea of Stars. This culture survives to this day, despite modern change making Bandiagara Africa's most unique living museum. Besides the legends of Sirius, the cliff of Bandiagara harbors a multitude of other mysteries that remain unsolved. First is the question of its remarkable architecture. How could ancient people build houses, granaries, and tombs in such perilous and seemingly impossible locations on sheer cliffs? Did they once possess construction techniques or tools that have been entirely lost to time? Secondly, the disappearance of the Tlatilco people is still a mystery with no definitive answer. They left behind countless mummies and ancient tombs, yet there are no traces of a mass migration. Some theories suggest the Tlatilco were a civilization that vanished due to catastrophe or war, while others propose they simply merged into the Dogon community, leaving no clear record in history. Additionally, the Dogon's legends of Nomo also raise many questions. Could there be a connection between their stories and other ancient myths about merfolk or celestial messengers found in cultures across the world? Lastly, there are still many caves and tombs hidden deep within the cliffs that remain unexplored and are strictly off-limits to outsiders. These are places where the Dogon people keep the secrets of their ancestors. It is possible that in the darkness of these caves there are still artifacts or legends waiting to be discovered by humanity. The cliff of Bandiagara is not only a natural wonder or an archaeological complex, it is a symbol of the marvel of human intellect and imagination. The stories of Sirius Nomo, hanging villages, and cliff tombs have and will continue to force the world to ask, what do we really know about humanity's past, about ancient knowledge, and how many secrets still sleep within the Bandiagara cliffs? The Sirius legend and Dogon astronomy are living proof that intellectual treasures beyond imagination exist, opening doors for great discoveries by humankind in the future. From deep beneath the soil of Norfolk in eastern England, a Celtic treasure has been unearthed that challenges every standard of history, technology, and ancient power. More than just gold, silver, or precious objects, the Snettisham Hoard is like a mysterious message left by the ancients hidden in each talk. Each fragment of alloy are puzzles about origins, metallurgical technology, and the might of a civilization lost to time. Among all these unanswered questions, the secret of its unusual gold composition and untraceable source remains the greatest mystery, driving scientists to seek answers for decades. Which theory about the origin of Snettisham's gold do you find most convincing? Let us know your opinion in the comments. In 1948, farmers accidentally dug up sparkling fragments of gold necklaces from the muddy earth of Snettisham, marking the beginning of a series of sensational archaeological finds that have continued well into the 21st century. To date, more than a dozen different hoards have been uncovered in this area, totaling hundreds of objects, including necklaces, bracelets, rings, jewelry, fragments, coins, and precious metal ingots. The most impressive aspect of the Snettisham Hoard is its scale. The gold alone weighs over 10 kilograms, a staggering amount for Iron Age Europe, where gold was so rare that it was reserved exclusively for the ruling elite or the most significant rituals. Among the artifacts, the most notable are the torques, twisted necklaces of exceptional size, crafted with such skill that they defy belief, with many weighing over a kilogram. One of the greatest mysteries of the Snettisham Hoard lies in the unusual composition and origin of the gold used to craft its artifacts. Modern chemical analysis has revealed that most of these gold items are not made of pure gold, but of a special alloy of gold-silver and a small proportion of copper. Notably, the silver content in many objects can reach nearly 30%, giving them a distinctive pale golden hue known as electrum. This makes the Snettisham Hoard stand out from many other contemporary Celtic treasures across Europe, which typically used gold that was almost pure. Even more curious is the fact that the gold-silver ratio is not consistent from one artifact to another. Some torques contain a higher proportion of gold, while many others are dominated by silver. This variation is not coincidental. It demonstrates that ancient goldsmiths were able to control the ratio of precious metals in their alloys, even with primitive techniques, a technical achievement far ahead of its time. Some experts believe that these differences in gold-silver ratio may have carried special symbolic meanings, reflecting social status, spiritual beliefs, or even signifying different power groups within Celtic society. Beyond their unique composition, the gold-working techniques seen in the Snettisham Hoard surpass those of many other regions from the same era. The torques were made from ultra-fine strands of gold or electrum, tightly braided into double or triple twisted cables, then shaped into large rings with spherical or conical terminals. Many gold wires are only about a millimeter in diameter, but stretch to several meters before being formed, requiring extraordinary skill. Even with modern technology, such craftsmanship would not be easily reproduced. Some torques are also set with amber-colored glass or red copper, showing a highly complex combination of materials. Intricate details, such as raised motifs, geometric patterns, and precisely twisted grooves on the surface, further highlight the remarkable skills of anonymous artisans from more than 2,000 years ago. Especially notable is their use of rolling wire drawing and extremely precise soldering, creating secure connections without any visible seams. The biggest question remains unsolved. Where did the gold in the Snettisham Hoard truly come from? When lead isotopes in the alloys were analyzed, the results did not match any known gold sources in England, Ireland, or continental Europe. Several theories have been proposed to explain this phenomenon. Some researchers think the gold was mined from small deposits in Cornwall or Wales, where evidence of ancient mining exists, but differences in isotopic composition and impurities suggest the gold may have originated from multiple sources or was remixed before being crafted. Some artifacts have a chemical composition similar to gold from the Rhine River in Germany, or even from the Alps, hinting at a vast trade network that reached beyond the island nation of ancient Britain, and may have been linked to trans-European trade routes. There are even bold suggestions that some of the gold came as spoils of war or tributes from neighboring tribes. Additionally, it is possible that some gold in the Snettisham Hoard was recycled from ancient Roman or Greek coins. The goldsmiths may have collected melted down and remixed these to make new torques, as traces of copper, tin, and silver still remain in some pieces. The use of impure gold-silver alloys in the Snettisham Hoard was not simply for economic or technological reasons. In Celtic culture, electrum, the gold-silver alloy, held deep spiritual significance, symbolizing the harmony between sunlight gold and moonlight silver, and representing supreme power or a connection with the divine. Thus, the electrum torques could be seen as ritual contracts between a leader and the gods, or as symbols of extraordinary power greater than any worldly authority. The Snettisham Hoard is not a typical lost treasure, but rather a collection of precious artifacts deliberately buried, carefully layered, and usually not accompanied by human bones or clear evidence of funerary rituals. This has led researchers to propose a range of different theories about the true purpose behind the hoard's burial. One of the most popular hypotheses suggests that these were offerings to the gods meant to ask for favorable weather protection from disease or victory over enemies, an idea supported by similarities with other Celtic sites where valuable items were buried as sacrifices. Additionally, some believe the hoard was a secret cache belonging to the local elite, possibly the Iceni tribe, famous under Queen Boudica, and was carefully hidden to guard against invasion, especially during the period when the Roman Empire began threatening Britain. However, to this day, there is still no definitive evidence identifying the true owners of this treasure. Furthermore, it is also possible that these artifacts were hastily buried, split up into several deposits to avoid theft, or falling into enemy hands amid a time of great social upheaval and frequent changes of power at the dawn of the Common Era. Despite being one of the most intensively studied treasures, the Snettisham Hoard still conceals the identities of its owners. No sign, inscription, or distinctive emblem has been found to confirm ownership. Some talks are gigantic, wearable only by individuals of exceptional stature or social role, kings, high priests. Whether they belonged to an individual, a family, or a community remains a major question. The Snettisham Hoard not only helps reconstruct the history of Celtic Britain, but has also sparked research into ancient trade, metalworking, and spirituality. Many artifacts are displayed in the British Museum, inspiring films, novels, and contemporary art. The image of gleaming, twisted gold talks, together with the mystery of their alloy origins, continues to fascinate the public and nurture theories of lost civilizations and ancient trade networks more powerful than once imagined. The most fascinating aspect of the Snettisham Hoard lies in the mystery surrounding the composition and origin of its gold, which reflects not only extraordinary metallurgical skills, but also hints at complex cultural exchanges. Each artifact here is an incomplete piece of history, and questions about alloys, craftsmanship, and the source of the gold continue to puzzle archaeologists. The Snettisham Hoard is not just a treasure of material wealth, but also a trove of unresolved mysteries that fuel human curiosity and inspire endless exploration. Amidst the vast sands of the Sahara, once thought to be the realm of death and oblivion, strange structures suddenly emerge, thousands of solitary stone tombs silently gazing toward the fiery horizon. These are not merely nameless relics of the past, but the mark of a civilization that once defied the harshness of the desert and left behind secrets that remain buried to this day, the Garamantes. Each tomb, each layer of sand covering ancient bodies, is a fragment in a colossal puzzle that history has yet to solve. Who were the people who built cities beneath the earth, controlled water, in the heart of the barren desert, and then vanished as if they had never existed? The answer remains buried beneath the blazing sun of the Sahara, and the tombs of the Garamantes even now are the starting point for questions with no reply. In your opinion, what could cause an entire civilization to vanish without a trace? Join the discussion below. For most of history, the Sahara was a forbidden land where sand dunes and dust storms buried everything that ever existed. Yet on the Fezzan Plateaus, Strange silhouettes emerge through satellite images, thousands of small, tower-like tombs forming cemetery cities, vast necropolises reminiscent of ancient Egypt, Nubia, or even faraway Mesopotamia. Garamantes tombs are diverse in form, from pyramid tombs with mud brick or stone pyramidal shapes to deep underground burial chambers. Many complexes feature intricate layouts, with underground passageways, surrounding walls, and watchtowers, as if the desert kings still guard their secrets long after death. These tombs were not just places of rest. They were ritual centers, symbols of power, and testament to a society deeply versed in architecture, irrigation, and astronomy, defying the harshest conditions of the driest lands on Earth. The first big question: how did the Garamantes build such durable tombs? In the desert, without water forests or large stone quarries, everything had to be transported from afar or recycled from old structures. The answer lies in their incredible ingenuity. The Figurines system, underground channels stretching for tens of kilometers beneath the surface, providing water for the city, and keeping the tomb's foundations stable and protected from encroaching sand. The Garamantes created technical oases, subterranean hydraulic works that sustained communities and preserved sacred heritage against the ravages of time and the desert. But the mystery remains: who invented, transmitted, and operated this grand system? Behind the tombs, is there a lost body of knowledge, a dynasty deliberately forgotten by history? Inside the tombs, archaeologists are astounded by their discoveries: Mediterranean-style ceramics, small figurines with Egyptian aesthetics, brightly colored glass beads, jewelry of copper-gold agate objects that could not have appeared in the Sahara without extensive trade or large-scale migration. Some artifacts bear marks of Carthage, Rome, or even Greece, showing that the Garamantes once controlled trans-Saharan trade routes directly linking sub-Saharan regions with the Mediterranean coast. They were desert tycoons, trading slaves, ivory, salt, gold, pearls, and luxury goods coveted by the North. This only adds to the mystery of their identity. Were the Garamantes merely a wealthy oasis, or were they the intermediaries who established Africa's first major economic networks? Some Garamantes tombs feature carvings of humans, animals, weapons, mysterious symbols, and ancient scripts still unreadable to this day. There are images of faces with costumes and weapons, unlike any neighboring culture. Scenes of rituals, deities, or abstract geometric figures, signs of profound religious traditions. All this leads to the hypothesis the Garamantes were not just a people following nearby civilizations, but had their own independent belief system, weaponry, language, and knowledge, a truly lost civilization. The greatest mystery surrounding the Garamantes, who they really were, has puzzled historians, anthropologists, and even geneticists for nearly a century. All that remains to this day are their tombs, scattered bones, disconnected artifacts, and vague legends found in ancient Greek, Roman, and Arabic sources. Many scholars believe that the Garamantes were a branch of the indigenous Berber people of the Sahara who had lived there for thousands of years and developed alongside civilizations like Egypt, Nubia, and Carthage. However, a closer look at the shape of their skulls, their genes, and surviving material culture reveals many differences from the modern Berbers. Some archaeological remains show features that are a blend of light-skinned people from the north and dark-skinned inhabitants from south of the Sahara, suggesting a long process of mixing between various groups. Other hypotheses suggest that the Garamantes may have been descendants of migrants from ancient Egypt, possibly fleeing political upheaval or war. Some researchers have even linked them to Carthage, to mysterious sea peoples, or even to the legends of the lost civilization of Atlantis, said to have been swept into the Sahara after a great flood. Nevertheless, all of these ideas remain speculation lacking definitive evidence. DNA studies on human bones found in Garamantes tombs have yet to provide a final answer. Preliminary results indicate a complex mix of genes, North African, Central African, Mediterranean, and even Middle Eastern, but with no single dominant lineage. This further supports the theory that the Garamantes were the result of multiple major migration waves, forming a society where many different ethnicities and cultures converged, much like what occurred in ancient Egypt, Sumer, or Phoenicia. Even ancient Greek and Roman records only add more mythological color to the mystery. Herodotus once described the Garamantes as a strange people who lived underground, hunted the cave-dwelling Ethiopians, and had contact with no one. To ancient Rome, the Garamantes were formidable rivals, fiercely battling for control of trans-Saharan trade routes. However, most of these accounts are inconsistent, unverified, or colored by the imagination of outsiders, making the veil of mystery surrounding the Garamantes' true identity even thicker. Archaeological discoveries of burial rituals, tomb architecture, and grave goods show that the Garamantes had a complex system of beliefs and rituals, but did not completely copy the models of Egypt, the Berbers, or Carthage. Some tombs are oriented toward the sunrise, indicating some knowledge of astronomy. Some burial customs strongly reflect polytheistic worship, honoring earth goddesses, sun gods, and ancestral spirits, highlighting a powerful fusion of local and foreign elements. The most recent archaeological discoveries, thanks to satellite technology and large-scale excavations, have revealed an overwhelming reality. The scale of the Garamantes far exceeded all previous expectations. They built dozens of cities, controlled hundreds of oases, and operated one of the busiest intercontinental trade networks in ancient Africa. Some researchers have not hesitated to call the Garamantes the Egypt of the Sahara, a regional superpower that once flourished brilliantly but was deliberately hidden or forgotten by history or erased by the brutality of nature. And yet, despite these continuous new discoveries, there is still no evidence strong enough to break the greatest mystery of all: who were the Garamantes? Where did they come from? How did they once reach such heights? And why did such a brilliant civilization suddenly vanish without a trace? After the 7th century, traces of the Garamantes faded from maps. Cities turned to ruins, tombs buried by sand legends sunk into oblivion. Some believe they were destroyed by Arab nomadic invasions. Others say climate change led to Foggara system collapse, oases dried up, and the people either migrated or slowly died out. Many burial sites remain unexcavated, deep under the sand. Who knows what secrets remain? Trade maps, inscriptions, artifacts, or even well-preserved mummies that could completely change our understanding of Saharan history. Only in the last 2 decades, thanks to satellite imagery and new archaeological techniques, have scientists uncovered hundreds more tombs, cities, and hidden water systems. Each new discovery reveals more mysteries about a civilization once so powerful and splendid, and leaves behind even more questions about the Garamantes' true identity. The tombs of Garamantes are not only the physical remnants of a superlative desert civilization, but also keys leading into the labyrinth of ancient African history, where fact and legend intertwine, where every hypothesis seems plausible, yet none can truly answer who were the Garamantes. Perhaps only when the last tomb is opened and scientific tools are strong enough will humanity finally unravel the greatest secret the Sahara ever hid: the story of a forgotten child of world history. There are mysteries buried deep beneath the parched sands of the Atacama Desert, a place where life seems to exist only as a distant memory. Here on the windswept, misty shores of the South Pacific, humans once defied nature's harshest law, oblivion. Without towering monuments or eternal words carved in stone, the Chinchorro people quietly left behind a legacy that transcends time. The oldest mummies in the world, carrying within them a hidden message about the meaning of life, death, and the enduring power of collective memory. What do you think the real message behind the Chinchorro mummies is? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Chinchorro was a culture without fame, no emperors, no pyramids, no writing, no monumental architecture. They left behind no gigantic stoneworks, no statues, no cities. Yet the Chinchorro achieved something that even the greatest civilizations must admire, preserving human bodies for 7,000 years, far surpassing any time frames known in human history. It was in this harshest part of South America that the Chinchorro developed unique mummification techniques surpassing the technical limits and imagination of their contemporaries. They stripped skin, reassembled bones, stuffed the bodies with sand and plant fibers, layered them with clay, creating mummies not to worship deities or to immortalize royal bloodlines, but seemingly for everyone. This is the greatest mystery confounding scientists worldwide for over a century. The Chinchorro's mummification techniques were incredibly diverse. First came the black mummies. The skin was removed, each part dried, a wooden frame inserted, then a mixture of charcoal and black clay was applied, finally covered with a clay mask. Later, the red mummies appeared. A large incision was made to remove the internal organs. The body was filled with plant fibers and clay, and the face was painted with red mineral pigment. There were also natural mummies preserved thanks to the ultra-dry climate of the Atacama. But the most striking aspect, people of all social levels were mummified, including children, fetuses, the elderly, and even those with disabilities or who died from illness. Unlike in Egypt, where mummification was reserved for the ruling class or nobility, the Chinchorro appeared to democratize death. There was no distinction between king and commoner. Every soul was deemed worthy of entering eternity. What sets the Chinchorro mummies apart is the silence of their material culture. There are no grand monuments, no evidence of a complex social system, no mythology inscribed in stone or recorded in writing. All that remains are hundreds of mummies lying quietly beneath the earth, yet holding within them thousands of unanswered questions. These mummies were often buried in small clusters, sometimes with ritual signs, but most lay near the surface, not deeply buried or specially protected. This suggests that the Chinchorro did not mummify to hide or protect against grave robbers as other civilizations did. Perhaps they wanted the dead to remain ever present within the community, a rare intertwining of life and death in human history. This is precisely the most crucial question, one that makes the Chinchorro culture one of humanity's greatest historical mysteries. What drove a hunter-gatherer society, not especially advanced in technology, to devote so much effort to immortalizing every body, even those of infants, fetuses, or the disabled? Many researchers believe that the Chinchorro people may have believed ancestral spirits continued to accompany, protect, and guide the living. Thus, preserving the body was their way of creating a physical bridge between two worlds, and the fact that mummies were transported and moved many times suggests the dead always remained an important part of community rituals. Another theory suggests that due to the high mortality rate among children, mummification was the Chinchorro's way of holding on to loved ones, easing the sudden pain of loss, and helping them cope with grief. The large number of child and fetal mummies discovered further supports this idea. Additionally, the unique natural environment of the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth, caused bodies to decompose very slowly. Perhaps over time, the fact that corpses remained intact for so long gradually became a cultural phenomenon, eventually developing into a proactive mummification ritual. Spiritual or superstitious factors cannot be ruled out. Either perhaps the Chinchorro feared restless spirits or supernatural forces. So mummification and the creation of masks became a way to trap souls in the body or help them rest in peace and prevent them from becoming troublesome ghosts haunting the community. Most strikingly, anyone could be mummified regardless of age, health, or social status, showing that the Chinchorro were a society without rigid social hierarchy. This may represent a symbol of equality and community cohesion, a clear difference from other mummifying cultures in the world. Despite all these theories, none have yet fully unraveled the deep purpose behind the Chinchorro practice of mummification. The remaining physical evidence is scant. There are no written records, no myths, no monuments, no special ritual tools, only the enduring presence of hundreds of silent mummies continuing to tell the story of an extraordinary tradition that lasted for thousands of years. Beyond material analysis, many anthropologists have focused on the emotional traces found with the Chinchorro mummies. Some bodies were buried with small items, seashells, fishing tools, sharp stones, objects apparently connected to the person in life. Some child mummies were posed as if sleeping peacefully, their faces covered in meditative clay masks. These small gestures reflect the bonds, love, and grief of the living for the deceased. The painstaking effort to reassemble and shape every detail might have stemmed from a desire to preserve familiar forms, to defy the ravages of time and death. Some research suggests the Chinchorro occasionally reused mummies, carrying them during festivals or community events before reburial, as if the dead were honorary members indispensable to important activities. Remarkably, the Chinchorro had no metal tools, no advanced pottery, using only stone implements, shells, and wooden sticks. Yet their mummification was highly sophisticated, requiring meticulous care, anatomical knowledge, and a strict process. Why would such a community devote immense effort to rituals for the dead? The question becomes even more perplexing given their harsh living conditions. The Atacama Desert, virtually rainless, sparse in vegetation. Fresh water, rare with sustenance, relying mostly on fishing and foraging wild plants. Yet they sacrificed time, resources, and labor to resurrect the bodies of their loved ones. Perhaps in the Chinchorro worldview, the line between life and death was not truly distinct. Ironically, the very factor that preserved the mummies for thousands of years, an extremely arid climate, is now threatened by climate change and human activity. Rising humidity and bacterial invasion are causing many Chinchorro mummies to deteriorate rapidly. Museums and exhibitions struggle with preservation, while financial and technical resources are limited. Sadly, hundreds of mummies may vanish forever, taking with them mysteries that have never been solved about the true purpose of the Chinchorro's mortuary rituals. In the end, the Chinchorro mummies are not just relics of a lost era, but also raise questions about the connection between humanity, death, and community. Perhaps the Chinchorro people wish to prolong the lives of their loved ones, or to preserve cherished memories amid a harsh world. The silence of these mummies invites us to reflect. What endures most may not be power or wealth, but rather love and the bonds of community that can withstand the tests of time. The mystery of the true purpose behind Chinchorro mummification will likely haunt scholars for many years to come. No documents, no legends remain, only immortal bodies silently lying beneath the sands, challenging the entire current of human history. But for that very reason, the Chinchorro mummies are among the most precious and profound legacies, reminding us of the value of memory, of love, and the immortality of community, something every culture in every era aspires to. Amidst the harsh desert of the Harran region, in what is now southeastern Turkey, there is a place where both history and modern science must step back, yielding to mysteries that have yet to be named. That place is Sogmatar. It is not as grand as the Egyptian pyramids, nor as widely celebrated as Göbekli Tepe, yet Sogmatar is a destination for the most intrepid archaeologists, dedicated codebreakers, and all those fascinated by ancient mysteries, always longing to find the answers to messages buried for millennia. What do you think is hidden within the undeciphered language and symbols of Sogmatar? Share your thoughts in the comments below. No one knows exactly who first set foot in Sogmatar, nor can anyone precisely pinpoint when this area became a cultural and religious center for such a vast region. The traces left behind reveal the intersection of many great Mesopotamian civilizations, from Akkad, Assyria, and Babylon, to more enigmatic peoples like the Arameans and Nabateans. But the most prominent common thread, and also the reason Sogmatar became a legendary sanctuary, is the unwavering belief in the power of the heavens, of celestial bodies, and of the supernatural language that conveys the will of the universe. In the early centuries, A.D. Sogmatar was a place where rituals to worship the moon god, Sin, the sun god, Chumash, and other celestial entities took place. Thousands of people would make pilgrimages here every year, seeking answers about fate and destiny, hoping for pronouncements from the other world. But all the prayers, offerings, and rituals were just a prelude to something even more important: the mysterious messages inscribed on stone in a language and script that to this day humanity has yet to fully decipher. Not just a site of traditional temples, Sogmatar is a vast complex with extraordinary structures: 7 round stone towers standing proudly, deep alcoves, caves carved straight into the mountainside, strange outdoor altars, and gigantic stone circles arranged according to cosmic patterns. Many have believed these towers were astronomical observatories, places to track the movement of the stars. But just as many scholars argue, these were spaces where shamans conducted rituals to communicate with forces beyond human comprehension. Wherever you are in Sogmatar, you will encounter carvings, symbols, and mysterious scripts on rocks, cave walls, and even on the ground. These are not random markings. They have order pattern and seem to transmit a message that even now no one has fully read. One of the greatest mysteries that makes Sogmatar such an enigmatic site for humanity is undoubtedly its system of ancient languages and scripts that no one has yet been able to fully decipher. Since the 19th century, archaeologists have uncovered dozens of stele reliefs and cylindrical stones carved with dense lines of ancient characters. Some of these inscriptions are in ancient Aramaic, a script once common in Mesopotamia, Syria, and the Near East. Yet among them are many characters that do not belong to any known writing system. They are a mixture of cuneiform Aramaic hieroglyphics and even unique symbols never found at any other site. There are passages written in ancient Aramaic describing rituals for worshipping the moon god, astronomical festivals, and lunar calendars, interspersed with clusters of geometric-like signs that seem to depict planetary orbits, astronomical viewpoints, or mysterious star codes. Most strikingly, there are recurring geometric motifs carved repeatedly onto many stones, forming a kind of cosmic language whose function remains unidentified by modern linguists, whether it is a writing system, an astronomical cipher, or some metaphysical code. Most of these strange characters appear in special locations within the sanctuary, on top of round towers, at the entrances of deep caves, and on black stone altars, places that ancient belief considered nodes between humans and the cosmos, where the messages of the gods would be recorded for future generations. Yet the mystery persists. Even after thousands of years, these messages remain unread, untranslated, and still not truly understood. Scholars have proposed many theories regarding these scripts. Some believe the strange symbols at Sogmatar represent coded messages related to astronomical events such as lunar or solar eclipses, comet movements, or rare cosmic cycles encoded so that only priests or elite shamans could interpret them, thus maintaining mystical power over the people. Others theorize that this system is a ritual language, a vocabulary of metaphysical ceremonies, incantations, or formulas for communicating with the divine and opening gateways to the other world. Many of the carvings resemble hands, eyes, interlocking circles, and star symbols, all closely tied to notions of supernatural power and protection. Still others, particularly those drawn to fringe theories, see Sogmatar as a place where extraterrestrial civilizations may have once contacted humanity, leaving geometric messages on stone star patterns, figures with elliptical heads, strange flying objects, and repeating designs that seem to mimic astronomical diagrams invisible to the naked eye. Although there is no concrete scientific proof, the sheer density of these undeciphered signs has made Sogmatar a UFO sanctuary in the eyes of those fascinated by cosmic mysteries. Over the centuries, countless scholars, linguists, and semioticians from around the world have attempted to decode the Sogmatar symbols. They have used every possible method, from comparing them to Babylonian, Egyptian, Sumerian, Akkadian, and Aramaic scripts, to applying modern encryption analysis. Yet results always reach a dead end. While standard passages may be partially read, clusters of symbols and motifs remain untranslatable. Some characters repeat frequently, but are found nowhere else, leaving researchers unsure how to read them or what they mean. Occasionally, even on a single stone, the text will abruptly shift from one script to another, creating a mysterious dual language system unlike anything seen before. There are many reasons why Sogmatar possesses such a strange system of symbols. First of all, Sogmatar was a crossroads of various civilizations, with each community bringing their own scripts, symbols, and rituals. The blending and overlapping of these markings is not only evidence of cultural exchange, but may also have been a deliberate attempt to encode knowledge in order to protect the secrets of the ancients from outsiders. In addition, some theories suggest that the priests of Sogmatar intentionally created a special system of signs and symbols, passing them down only to those who inherited spiritual authority, to prevent cosmic secrets from falling into the hands of invaders or anyone outside the lineage. Moreover, many modern scholars believe that the recurring geometric motifs found at Sogmatar may not be a language in the traditional sense at all, but rather cosmic maps, diagrams of energy, or reflections of a mathematical and astronomical understanding that far surpassed that of ancient humanity. Today, even as stones erode and caves weather with time, the mysterious lines and symbols at Sogmatar are far from erased. They are like a song, missing its key, a book with neither beginning nor end, forever challenging humanity to solve the language of the universe. Every year, archaeological teams continue to excavate, photograph, record, and test modern methods like 3D scanning and AI analysis to seek patterns. Yet no one has confirmed what the language of Sogmatar truly means, or whose message it is, or where it comes from. Surrounding the language and script of Sogmatar are many unsolved mysteries. Numerous symbols appear only at locations with a clear view of the sky, often oriented towards special points on the horizon, as if they serve as markers to record rare astronomical events. Additionally, some caves here feature ancient inscriptions, carved in places with unique acoustics. Whenever rituals were performed, The echoing sounds would create a mystical effect, leading researchers to believe that this was not only for dramatic impact, but could also be related to transmitting metaphysical messages through a combination of sound waves and symbols. Remarkably, many of the symbols at Sogmatar are strikingly similar to those found at other famous sites like Balik Tepe, and some reliefs have even been compared to motifs from Egypt, the Indus civilization, or the Caucasus region. This raises the profound question of whether a universal symbolic language might have existed among prehistoric cultures. The mysteries of Sogmatar still remain as a great challenge for humanity. People constantly wonder whether there truly exists a cosmic language for which Sogmatar serves as the final repository of its codes, or if these undeciphered symbols are actually prayers, star maps, mathematical formulas, or perhaps even messages intended for some outsider in the future. No one knows for certain whether in the age of artificial intelligence, we will ever be able to fully decode this mysterious system and uncover what really happened at Sogmatar thousands of years ago, or if that language will forever remain a silent song, understood only by those who truly belong to this place, a layer of knowledge hidden from the rest of the world. Sogmatar is not just an archaeological site, but a gateway to some of humanity's greatest mysteries. Beneath layers of sand and black stone, its undeciphered language still waits to be discovered, or perhaps it will remain forever beyond our understanding. This very mystery is what gives Sogmatar its unique allure, reminding us that sometimes even a single symbol can be enough to astonish the entire world. There are ancient traces that modern humans can only look upon in awe, a mix of admiration and silent questioning. How, in what way, could ancient civilizations create structures so durable, complex, and beautiful among the remarkable feats that remain in the sun-soaked land of Anatolia, Palu, Uratu, Yazutu? The basalt inscription stone by the Murat River in Palu, el-Jimal province stands as the most vivid testimony to the intelligence, craftsmanship, and faith of the Urartian people against the tests of nature and time. What do you think about the carving techniques and the extraordinary durability of the Palu Uratu Yazutu? Do you believe modern humans could achieve something similar? Share your thoughts in the comments below. First, imagine standing before a towering stone wall by the Mura River, where nature is both majestic and harsh. On the dark gray stone surface, hundreds of strange characters are neatly lined up, carved deep into the earth's crust as an eternal message. That stele has stood there for over 2.5 millennia, silent, steadfast, enduring fierce river floods, earthquakes, wars, and countless generations passing by. Uratu, the mighty mountain kingdom of eastern Anatolia, from the 9th to the 7th century BC, was renowned for its irrigation works, stone fortresses, and meticulous stone carving art. Yet the Palu Uratu Yazutu is no ordinary stele. It is the king's oath before the gods, an epic poem of power, and a challenging puzzle of construction technique that modern engineers still cannot fully solve. Basalt is an extremely hard volcanic rock on the Mohs scale. Its hardness ranges from 6 to 7, surpassed only by diamond quartz and a few rare minerals. Carving into basalt requires tools that are exceptionally sharp, great applied force, high precision, and above all, an almost superhuman level of patience. If you gently touch the surface of the Palu inscription, you will find that the Urartian cuneiform characters remain deep, even, and sharply defined, despite having endured thousands of years of erosion from wind, water, and dust. How could the Urartians, with technology dating back over 2,700 years, manage to carve such perfectly aligned rows of script, each with consistent depth and no signs of cracking, chipping, or misalignment. Various theories have been proposed. Some archaeologists believe that the Urartians had advanced techniques for smelting copper iron and even ultra-hard alloys, allowing them to forge chisels, awls, and axes capable of conquering basalt. Others suggest they may have used fire to locally heat the rock and then doused it with cold water, causing the surface to crack and making it easier to carve more deeply. There's also the possibility that they enhanced the process by using natural abrasives, sand quartz, or powdered hard stone to increase friction and wear as they inscribed the stone. Yet regardless of the hypothesis, one fact stands out. There are absolutely no traces of mistakes, misplaced strokes, or evidence of corrections. Each character seems to have been drawn as if guided by an invisible hand, both powerful and gentle and strikingly uniform. Perhaps the strangest thing about the Palu Uratu Yazutu is not just that it was created, but that it has survived intact to this day. The climate of eastern Anatolia is unforgiving, freezing winters, scorching summers. The Murat River floods could wash away entire banks. Countless relics have crumbled, many works remain only as shadows underground. Yet this stele still stands proud. Geological studies show that the placement of the stele was not accidental. The basalt was carefully quarried and selected. The stele's orientation avoids direct heavy floodwaters, and its inscribed face turns toward the morning sun, where the light highlights the carvings, creating a sacred effect each sunrise. Moreover, the stele's surface shows signs of light polishing, allowing rainwater to run off easily instead of lingering and eroding the characters. Some experts have noticed that the stele's edges and corners are beveled, reducing the risk of cracking under pressure or with sudden weather changes. These seemingly minor details are exactly what have allowed the Palu inscription to withstand all the challenges of nature for over 2 millennia. Unlike the inscriptions of Assyria, Babylon, or Egypt, where stone carving is often associated with complex mythological imagery, the Palu Uratu Yazutu focuses on script and text, with the aim of clearly conveying a message. However, each character also contains a certain mechanical beauty fused with a spiritual aura. The horizontal lines, vertical columns, even proportions, each line forming a rhythmic melody between human, stone, time. Perhaps it is precisely this minimalism, focusing on writing instead of illustration, that has forged the enduring power of this stele. The Urartian characters, with their bold angular strokes, become a language of stone, speaking to future generations, not only about conquests and decrees, but also about technical skill and the drive to overcome physical limits of our ancestors. Even though archaeologists have discovered hundreds of Urartian inscriptions across Turkey, Iran, Armenia, Georgia, the Palu Uratu Yazutu remains an unsolved riddle. Some characters on the stele are found nowhere else, making it extremely difficult to decode the true content. Some passages can be understood as recounting King Menua's feats, the building of dams or fortresses, but there are also lines alluding to deities' curses and elements that modern science still cannot verify. Some scholars even ask, is this perfect carving technique merely the product of skilled labor, or are there spiritual, mysterious religious rituals that drove the Urartians to such superhuman levels? It is said that during the creation process, carvers had to undergo purification rituals and prayers, as if each stroke was a direct message to the god Haldi, the sun god, Shivini, or supernatural forces protecting this land. Today, Palu Uratu Yazutu is not just the object of archaeological study, but also a symbol of endurance, a desire to transmit messages through time. It inspires sculptors, architects, and modern engineers with the possibilities of limitless creativity. The combination of science and art, matter, and spirit. Every year, thousands of tourists, scholars, and students come to Palu to witness the ageless stele. They do not come just to read the inscriptions, but to feel the breath of history, and to ask themselves, will our achievements today endure through the storms of nature and time? Palu, Uratu, Yazutu. The stele among the Anatolian mountains is the clearest evidence of the intellect, perseverance, and extraordinary technique of the ancient Urartian civilization. Their carving technique is not just a story of craftsmanship, but a symphony between humanity and matter, between will and nature, between the present and the eternal. Anyone who stands before this ancient stele will feel, even if time erases all things, there will still be eternal messages carved into stone. And it is precisely those exquisite techniques, those unanswered mysteries, that make the Palu Uratu Yazutu eternally captivating for generations to come. Rising from the deep forests and mountains of Hunan Province, China, it's not ordinary mountain ranges that greet the sky, but thousands of vertical stone pillars, standing tall like nature's colossal spears. Nowhere else on Earth can one witness such a majestic and surreal city of stone, sandstone columns, shrouded in clouds, towering high, each separated into its own island in the sky. This beauty doesn't just astonish travelers, it also baffles geologists. Every pillar is an unanswered question, every veil of mist, another layer of mystery. Perhaps it is here that people truly sense the limits of human understanding before nature's extraordinary creations. Why is it that only Zhangjiajie hosts such a bizarre forest of skyward pillars? What geological process gave rise to thousands of stone columns in the heart of a green forest, turning this place into a living legend of world geology? Do you believe Zhangjiajie's unique landscape was shaped only by nature, or could there be something more mysterious at work? Let us know your opinion in the comments. There is nowhere else on Earth quite like Zhangjiajie. Spread over more than 360 square kilometers of the Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, there are over 3,000 quartz sandstone pillars, each standing from 100 to nearly 400 meters tall, rising straight up, isolated in the midst of pristine forest. From a distance, they look like a city of heavenly columns, ancient fortresses abandoned by time, floating amid a sea of clouds. This grandeur, diversity of shapes and colors has turned this landscape into an endless inspiration for artists, filmmakers, notably the Avatar blockbuster, with its Hallelujah Mountains and folk legends passed down through generations. On some days, the entire area is covered by thick fog, transforming the stone pillars into floating islands drifting on a white sea of clouds. This mystical beauty was once believed to be the dwelling place of deities, immortal warriors, or ancient spirits, and is also the reason why Zhangjiajie is so closely tied to countless legends. The Zhangjiajie stone pillars are identified as quartz sandstone, a type of rock formed from sand grains bound together by quartz existing here since the late Devonian period, around 380 million years ago. However, what continually puzzles geologists is not just their immense age, but also how these pillars could have formed in such extraordinary numbers, density, and height. Many theories have been put forward to explain this unique phenomenon. According to some scientists, millions of years of wind, rainfall, temperature fluctuations between day and night, and even snow and ice have gradually eroded the softer rock layers, leaving behind only the hard sandstone cores that stand as the towering pillars we see today. Other opinions suggest that this region's geology once experienced earthquakes and strong tectonic activity, leaving behind a dense network of fissures. Over time, water seeped through these cracks, further eroding and dividing the large rock masses into countless separate columns. Additionally, some hypotheses propose that beneath these pillars lies a solid layer of ancient limestone, which helps support and slow down their collapse, allowing the pillars to grow taller and live longer than usual. Even so, no scientific model to date has been able to fully explain the extraordinary scale, height, and density of the forest of stone pillars in Zhangjiajie. Geologists all agree that the combination of the region's unique climate, mineral composition, tectonic activity, and long-term erosion has created unparalleled conditions here. Yet the big question remains, why is it that only Zhangjiajie brings together all these factors? After all, in many areas with similar geological conditions around the world, such as the United States, Australia, or South Africa, the number and shapes of stone pillars still cannot compare with those in Zhangjiajie. Besides the mystery of their formation, scientists are also puzzled by how to determine the precise age of each pillar. Due to the constant effects of the environment, the pillars can emerge, disappear, or change shape over hundreds or thousands of years. Some records show that after major floods or landslides, certain pillars have collapsed, leaving gaps for new ones to appear thanks to increased erosion. Thus, this stone city is not static, but always changing constantly, restructuring a dynamic geological ecosystem that humanity has yet to decode the life-death cycle of each stone pillar. Atop many pillars are micro-ecosystems completely isolated from the ground. Because they're cut off from the forest floor, the climate atop a pillar can be quite different from the surrounding area. Certain species of plants, mosses, even insects, and small animals exist only on the tops of specific pillars, like the sky-bound Galapagos Islands. Accessing the tops of these pillars for biological research is extremely difficult, meaning the discoveries about their biodiversity are still very limited. It's quite possible that many endemic species have yet to be discovered. These mysterious creatures live quietly atop the world of stone. Not only appealing because of their natural architecture, the Zhangjiajie Pillars are also famous for their ability to transform their scenery with the weather. On cloudy, misty days, the pillars seem to evaporate, floating in midair, creating a scene straight out of legend. Thanks to this effect from ancient times to today, this place has been associated with countless tales of deities, demons, and immortal warriors. Some of the most famous pillars are named after these legends, like Southern Sky Column, Crane Rain, Column Flying Dragon Column, and so on. After the film Avatar was released, a particularly prominent pillar was renamed Avatar Hallelujah Mountain, adding to its mystical allure. Besides being continually worn away by wind and rain, the pillars can also be affected by small earthquakes, underground water currents, or landslides. In some cases, pillars have collapsed or split in two, creating new pathways among the forest of columns. This raises the question, how long does a pillar really last? Will this stone city exist for millions more years, or will it gradually dissolve as the environment changes? To this day, nobody has the answer. Scientists also cannot predict the future development or collapse of each pillar in the distant future. Sandstone can be found all over the world, from the Grand Canyon in the United States to the Blue Mountains of Australia, but nowhere else combines all the factors necessary to create a forest of heavenly columns with the number and density of Zhangjiajie. Comparative studies of rock samples, climate conditions, and tectonic history from similar regions show that Zhangjiajie is the perfect result of millions of years of interplay between countless micro-factors, a coincidence of nature so rare it's hard to believe. Some theories suggest This area was submerged under the sea for hundreds of millions of years, then raised by tectonic activity, producing many sand layers and deep fissures. The variety of parallel and perpendicular cracks, along with heavy rainfall, allowed water to infiltrate, erode, and divide the rock masses into individual pillars. However, no matter how detailed the analysis, science still hasn't found a formula or geological code to fully explain this one-of-a-kind case. Zhangjiajie Pillars are not only a renowned natural wonder of China, but also an open problem of modern geology. From their mysterious formation, their extraordinary shapes, to their isolated ecosystems and constant change, all contribute to a living city of stone on Earth. Science continues to explore step by step, but perhaps the greatest secrets of Zhangjiajie will be passed down forever as humanity's legendary heritage. Hidden on the edge of the blazing deserts of Kerman lies a colossal fortress built from the most fragile elements of nature, earth, water, and sun-drenched winds. This is not the work of chance, but the product of human intellect, science, and the determination to overcome challenges possessed by ancient people. The Citadel of Bam, the greatest mud brick city on Earth, not only amazes all later generations with its sheer scale, but also with the engineering secrets that remain unsolved. Behind those enduring mud brick walls lies a profound question. How could an ancient civilization create such a masterpiece that even the modern world must respect? What do you think was the greatest secret behind Bam's enduring strength? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Citadel of Bam is not a single isolated fortress, but an entire urban complex fortified by massive walls stretching over an area of more than 180,000 square meters. Constructed mainly of mud brick, a material seemingly fragile and easy to break, yet Bam has survived for millennia, withstanding sun, wind, desert sand, and even violent earthquakes. From a distance, this ancient city appears as an impregnable stronghold, with dozens of watchtowers, city gates, domes, and tall spires all blending together to form a magnificent architectural block shrouded in an aura of inexplicable mystery. No one knows for certain when Bam was built. Many documents suggest the fortress dates back to the Achaemenid era, around 500 BCE. But archaeological discoveries indicate its history could be even older. Over thousands of years, Bam was a vital commercial center along the Silk Road, a crossroads of civilizations teeming with legendary stories of merchants, warriors, kings, and adventurers. Though it has been destroyed, invaded, and revived countless times, and even went through mysterious periods of total abandonment, the fortress has always stood strong, defying the ravages of time. What astonishes scientists worldwide about the Citadel of Bam is the advanced construction techniques that ancient builders applied to seemingly fragile mud bricks, techniques that have allowed the structure to endure for millennia. How hundreds of years before the Common Era, when tools were still primitive, could people construct a massive multi-story and robust city using only clay and straw? The primary material used for this fortress is adobe, large mud bricks kneaded from clay water and straw, then left to dry under the desert sun. The real mystery lies in the exact formula, the ratio and mixture of ingredients that create a cohesion and durability lasting through the ages is still not fully understood. Some modern studies have discovered that the bricks contain added organic matter and special minerals that increase water resistance and hardness, but so far no one has been able to replicate them perfectly. Moreover, the earthquake-resistant techniques employed by the ancients at Bam are truly remarkable. The fortress is situated on the edge of a highly active seismic zone and has endured countless earthquakes, yet most of the structures remain incredibly stable. The secret lies in the way the walls and domes were built. The outer walls are constructed to be extremely thick and sloped to reduce the force of impact from outside. Within the bricks, wooden frameworks were embedded to absorb and disperse seismic forces, preventing chain collapse. Domes and ceilings were shaped as hemispheres or arches to increase load-bearing capacity and evenly distribute weight across the structure. Special plaster and waterproof coatings both block water infiltration and allow the walls to breathe, preventing moisture from accumulating inside, a crucial factor for the longevity of earthen architecture. In addition, the fact that buildings as tall as 20 meters were constructed solely from mud brick and still retained their stability is a great mystery. The ancient engineers calculated the thickness of walls at the base, gradually thinning them toward the top. Inside, the citadel rooms and corridors were arranged in an interwoven pattern like a spine to support the entire structure. Small windows and ventilation openings allowed light in and reduced wall weight without compromising overall strength. Bam's defensive architecture was also ingeniously complex, like a labyrinth, with multiple layers of walls, zigzagging gates to slow enemy advances, watchtowers, and choke points for effective control during attacks. Notably, staircases and corridors were designed as natural traps. Just blocking a few strategic points could split and disorient invading armies. Another technical achievement that cannot go unmentioned is the underground water channel system, Qanat, the very lifeline of the entire city. Water from aquifers tens of meters deep was delivered to every corner through secret tunnels, enabling Bam to flourish for thousands of years amid the harsh, arid desert. Furthermore, in some critical locations, ancient builders used special types of wood or mixed in secret mortars, possibly containing salt ash or local herbs, to reinforce the structures. Strangely, many constructions in surrounding areas built with similar materials have collapsed or deteriorated significantly, yet only the Citadel of Bam has truly stood the test of time. This has led many to theorize that perhaps the ancient craftsmen possessed construction secrets that have since been lost forever. Beneath the fortress, archaeologists have discovered many underground rooms and tunnels yet to be fully excavated. Some areas seem to have stored provisions, weapon caches, or served as refuges during sieges. There is a theory that some tunnels lead outside the walls, acting as hidden escape routes. Particularly, these tunnels were reinforced against collapse with arched earth columns, forming an intricate spiderweb network connecting critical sections. Undertaking such underground construction with the technology of that era remains a huge question regarding skills, tools, and design knowledge. Bam is associated with many oral legends of treasure-forbidden chambers and ancient kings who once resided here. Some tales warn that those who venture deep into sealed chambers or underground layers will meet with misfortune. Many artifacts and traces found here indicate periods of mysterious ritual or religious activity. To this day, many experts continue to debate the true secret techniques that have enabled Argi Bam to withstand countless earthquakes, sandstorms, and even long periods of abandonment and damage, yet still retain its nearly intact structure. Some theories suggest that the fortress's extraordinary durability comes from its intelligently layered construction, which helps distribute and balance the load efficiently throughout the entire complex. Additionally, the sloped and angled design of the walls is thought to minimize the external pressure exerted on the structure. The special materials used to make the mud bricks are also believed to play a crucial role, preventing them from crumbling or disintegrating under the harsh desert climate. Moreover, the roofing and plaster layers not only provide waterproofing, but also create an insulating air cushion, helping keep the inner structure stable despite changes in the environment. However, all of these explanations remain just theories. As to this day, no ancient records have ever described in detail the actual building secrets that have given this fortress its remarkable longevity. The earthquake of 2003 severely damaged the fortress, raising the question, can people today truly restore Bam using ancient techniques? Even with modern technology, much of the fortress is difficult to return to its original state, as no one knows the precise ratios, materials, or construction methods the ancients used. The Citadel of Bam is not just the ruin of an ancient city, but also a technical marvel that demonstrates the creativity and enduring strength of people from long ago. Its mud brick walls, unique defensive systems, and ingenious water management have allowed the fortress to survive in the harsh desert for centuries. To this day, Bam remains a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience, and a major challenge for anyone trying to unravel the ancient engineering mysteries that modern science has yet to fully explain. If you ever have the chance to visit the northern coastline of New Zealand's South Island, you simply cannot miss one of the most unique natural symbols here, Split Apple Rock. This boulder sits quietly on the water in Tasman Bay near Abel Tasman National Park and seems to have existed for millions of years, just to leave those who witness it awestruck, wondering what created such a perfectly split stone apple. What do you think really caused the perfect split in Split Apple Rock? Was it just a natural phenomenon, or could there be another hidden mystery? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Split Apple Rock, or Tokangawa in Maori, stands out on the deep blue sea with a shape nearly identical to a giant granite apple that's been sliced cleanly into two halves by a razor-sharp cut. Its size is anything but small, about 6 meters in diameter and weighing hundreds of tons. The two halves sit side by side, slightly apart, making it easy for anyone to imagine a half-split apple, a natural scene so strange that if you hadn't seen it, you'd think it belonged in fantasy or a sci-fi documentary. The perfection, balance, and sharpness of the split have made Split Apple Rock a subject of geological research, as well as a never-ending source of inspiration for photographers, artists, tourists, and local people. How could a massive granite boulder, renowned for its hardness and durability, be split into two perfectly even, neat halves, showing no signs of the random breakage usually seen in natural rock fractures? According to many geologists, Split Apple Rock is the product of a physical weathering process that has lasted tens of thousands to millions of years. Rainwater, especially salty seawater, seeps into tiny cracks on the granite's surface. As temperatures change, this water can freeze during ice ages or particularly cold periods. When frozen, its volume increases, exerting expansive force like invisible wedges. With each winter, this pressure grows a bit more gradually, widening the cracks over many millennia. Eventually, the stress reaches the rock's limit, and in an instant, the boulder splits into two parts. Yet the almost absolute perfection of the split at Split Apple Rock continues to puzzle experts. In nature, even when physical weathering occurs, cracks are often uneven, jagged, or result in many fragments, rather than a clean, tidy divide. Split Apple Rock is a special case, producing two halves so symmetrically that it's hard to believe without any secondary cracks or large debris scattered around. Some scientists suggest that the crystalline structure of this particular granite, combined with inherent factors like micro cracks, formed during the Earth's crust formation, determined the direction of the split. If the micro-cracks occurred in just the right spots, combined with the influence of wind, temperature, humidity, and tides, this strange split could have happened without the usual chaotic fragmentation. Notably, Split Apple Rock's location, half submerged, half above the seawater, means it is constantly subjected to waves, saltwater sea winds, daily temperature swings, and even biological factors like plant roots, barnacles, and microorganisms clinging to the rock. All of these, though seemingly minor, accumulate over thousands of years and can serve as natural saws, quietly slicing the huge stone in a slow, steady, and uncannily precise manner. Beyond scientific explanations, many mysterious theories have emerged around the creation of this perfect split. Some believe Split Apple Rock was divided by the impact of a small meteorite or by rare geological events like powerful earthquakes, though there's no clear geological evidence to support these ideas. In Maori legend, many say gods or supernatural forces intervened to create the stone apple, viewing it as a sacred mark or symbol from ancient times, a message from the deities to future generations. Some New Age followers even believe the perfect split is a sign of Earth's energy lines, or that energy flows converge at Split Apple Rock, turning it into a special sacred site where one can feel this energy simply by touching the stone. Despite decades of research, Split Apple Rock still keeps its secret about the formation of its perfect fracture. No simulation or experiment has ever recreated such a sharp, symmetrical cut in such a large granite boulder using only ordinary natural processes. This is precisely what has made Split Apple Rock a symbol not only of natural beauty, but also a challenge to human understanding of geological processes. Mystery enthusiasts and travelers from all over the world visit this site to experience it for themselves. Is this merely a random product of time, or does it still hide a secret that science has yet to unravel? Not only does Split Apple Rock stand out in form, it has become a magnet for photographers, artists, and international tourists. At different times of day, sunrise, sunset, or on clear days, sunlight shining on the fracture creates spectacular optical effects, making the rock glow or stand out against the sky and water. When the tide rises and falls, the rock presents new views, evoking the image of an apple floating in the vast ocean. Many believe that touching Split Apple Rock brings luck or allows you to feel the ancient energy radiating from this stone that has existed for millions of years. Whether you are a scientist, photographer, cultural researcher, or simply someone who loves nature's mysteries, Split Apple Rock can offer powerful inspiration. It's a reminder of the power of time, of how tiny processes like drops of water, wind, climate change, roots can combine, persist, and silently create wonders that humans cannot imagine. Split Apple Rock is a perfect symbol for the idea that the greatest marvels often don't come from sudden strength, but are the result of millions of years of steady change, sometimes a miraculous coincidence of nature that we can hardly reproduce with modern technology. It can be said that Split Apple Rock is a mirror reflecting science's humility before nature. Even with today's 3D scanners, fracture analysis techniques, and physical modeling using supercomputers, no one has yet fully explained why a granite boulder would choose to split so perfectly at just the right place, at just the right time, and leave its mark for millions of years. That is why Split Apple Rock is not just a tourist attraction, but an endless source of inspiration for those eager to explore the universe's mysteries, a place where these stone apples are still waiting to be deciphered, like a grand secret creation left to humanity. Some of the greatest secrets are not found in massive structures, but are hidden within the smallest of objects. In the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerians left behind a miniature legacy of immense power. The cylinder seals, tiny cylindrical artifacts that contain an entire world of complexity and wonder. Crafted over 5 millennia ago, each cylinder seal was far more than an administrative tool. It was a compact data vault encapsulating the essence of Sumerian civilization itself. While the Egyptian pyramids or the stone statues of Easter Island inspire awe with their size, the cylinder seals astonish scholars with their micro-scale sophistication, mysterious crafting technologies, and an ability to encode messages that defies modern imagination. Do you believe such small artifacts could hold lost knowledge or even change our understanding of ancient history? Let us know your theories in the comments. Imagine an object measuring only 2 to 5 centimeters in length, about 1 to 2 centimeters in diameter, smaller than a pocket lighter, even fitting neatly in the palm of your hand. Yet on this tiny surface, the Sumerians could carve out an entire world, from parading armies and mythological rituals to scenes of daily life, miniature wedge-shaped script, and even mysterious astronomical symbols. What makes these seals legendary in the archaeological world? First, let's talk about the materials used. Unlike contemporary civilizations, the Sumerians didn't just use baked clay, but also employed extremely hard, precious, and semi-precious stones, such as lapis lazuli, carnelian, chalcedony, serpentine hematite, and even obsidian. These are materials that, without modern machinery, would make detailed carving on a small curved surface nearly impossible. Yet somehow, Sumerian artisans produced thousands of cylinder seals so sharp and meticulous that modern experts have to use electron microscopes to uncover all their hidden details. Their crafting techniques, surpassed all imagination. Motifs are aligned with utmost precision, creating seamless patterns when rolled over wet clay, like printing or a continuous comic strip of ancient times. Every engraved line is not merely handiwork, but reflects a deep understanding of the material, hand pressure, cutting angles, and multi-layered depths, things that with only stone or primitive bronze tools would be nearly magical. Some seals even have motifs less than a millimeter wide, with stable depth and clean, sharp lines, as if created by a microsurgical blade or some kind of micro-vibrational technology. Some archaeologists have found traces suggesting the use of bronze tools or even ultra-fine metal wires, yet so far, no specific artifact has been convincing enough. What stirs controversy is the consistent quality across thousands of cylinder seals spanning centuries, despite differences in artisans' workshops and material sources. How could the Sumerians transmit skills and maintain almost absolute craftsmanship standards in an age without modern measuring devices? Some theories propose that in addition to superb manual techniques, there may have been supporting tools like hand drills, standardized toolkits, or even now lost mechanical technologies. Of course, these remain hypotheses, only thickening the veil of mystery around these seals. If the craftsmanship alone is overwhelming, then the content depicted on each cylinder seal is even more astonishing. Imagine on a surface the size of half a fingernail a series of mythological scenes, battles, gods, hybrid creatures, ritual ceremonies, and even strange symbols, all projected as vividly as an ancient animated film. Not only objects confirming ownership or protecting goods, each seal is also a mini comic strip preserving mythological tales, historical events, and even knowledge never before revealed. Many seals show bizarre, hybrid beings human bird, human fish sphinxes, floating objects, or unidentified astronomical symbols, fueling endless debates about the hidden wisdom of the Sumerian civilization. Some cylinder seals still contain symbols that experts have yet to decipher, raising a big question. Are they mere decoration, or do they hide codes, scientific knowledge, or spiritual messages known only to the elite? Many researchers believe that cylinder seals weren't just used for administration and economics, but were also keys for religious rituals, magic, and communication with the divine. Certain images regularly appear, such as the divine hand, large eyes, star shapes, the moon, the sun, all subtly hinting at a system of astronomical, mathematical, and calendrical knowledge the Sumerians possessed thousands of years ago. Precisely because of these factors, cylinder seals have become objects of extraordinary hypotheses. Some fringe theories claim that the repeated appearances of bird-headed figures, flying objects, or highly accurate astronomical depictions are evidence of secret cosmic knowledge, even intervention from extraterrestrial civilizations. Most serious scholars, however, focus on unraveling the manufacturing process, which remains a big question. What tools, what techniques, how was the craft passed on and maintained over centuries? If only stone knives were used, even the sharpest, how could they carve lines as fine as 0.2 to 0.3 millimeters on gemstones without cracking or breaking? The harmonious coordination between artisan skills and the ability to draw in reverse, having to envision the final image as it would appear when rolled out, is also a complex puzzle of spatial thinking. Some cylinder seals bear images and symbols that completely mismatch traditional archaeological knowledge, such as scenes of two creatures flying around a large circle, which some researchers interpret as an eclipse or rare astronomical phenomenon. Constellations unknown to other civilizations until much later, or communications between gods and humans portrayed in ways never before seen in neighboring cultures. Are these just artistic imagination or traces of secrets no one has yet imagined? Not stopping at technology and imagery, cylinder seals are also time machines that preserve the earliest cuneiform characters, the foundation of the world's first written language. On these tiny rings, wedge-shaped lines are neatly arranged, conveying everything from names and titles to spells, oaths, and even encoded economic or legal data. Notably, some seals have special symbols that experts suspect are private codes or records of knowledge accessible only to the priestly or aristocratic class. This is also a vast data source that allows researchers to reconstruct the history, economy, society, and religion of Sumer, but simultaneously raises questions. Are cylinder seals mobile knowledge vaults where the elite's essence is encrypted and passed down only to chosen heirs? One strange point is that not everyone owned a cylinder seal. Those discovered are mainly linked to nobles, officials, and priests, many bearing the ultimate symbols of power, crowns, supreme deities, totems. This leads researchers to believe that cylinder seals were not merely administrative tools, but talismans, sacred amulets, even tickets to the world of the gods. Some seals were buried with the dead, placed in temples, or used in secret rituals that to this day remain unexplained. Although crafted thousands of years ago, many cylinder seals remain sharp and almost intact, demonstrating not only manufacturing prowess, but also knowledge of selecting, treating materials, and Sumerian preservation secrets. Thanks to this, we today can still read stories, symbols, and even hidden messages that our ancestors wished to send to later generations. Sumerian cylinder seals, these tiny artifacts embody the intellect, artistry, and mysteries of the Sumerians. They are not just signatures or seals of approval, but showcase advanced microcrafting technology containing a treasury of knowledge and the spiritual power of an entire civilization. Each cylinder seal is a unique piece of history, and their mysterious sophistication will forever challenge modern humanity to seek answers about the past. There are ancient secrets that were never written down in language, but instead lie quietly within each grain of earth, each delicate sculpted line. Tlatilco figurines, the unique clay figures of the Tlatilco culture, are among the strangest evidence of this truth. Discovered in a land once lost to memory, these tiny statues not only astonish with their surreal appearances, but also leave modern scientists perplexed by a level of craftsmanship that surpasses all technological limits of their era. Each artifact is an open-ended question about creativity, about ancient knowledge, and about the lost arts that vanished thousands of years ago. What ancient secrets or technologies do you think enabled people to create these mysterious Tlatilco clay figurines? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tlatilco, meaning place of hidden things in Nahuatl, has long been famous as an archaeological site dating from about 1200 to 400 BCE. Among the hundreds of artifacts found there, the small clay figurines, measuring only about 7 to 12 centimeters in height, attract the most attention. They are not only diverse in form, but also notable for extraordinary features. Some have 2 faces, 2 heads, some lack limbs, and others possess lively modern expressions and postures. These figurines are often meticulously decorated, elaborate hair patterns, earrings, body tattoos, and extremely fine jewelry details, sometimes painted in red or yellow. Some features are so thin, less than 1 millimeter in width, requiring skill and clay-working techniques far surpassing contemporary standards. Right from the stage of selecting clay, Tlatilco artisans demonstrated a profound understanding of their materials. The clay used for figurines was carefully filtered to remove all impurities and mixed with water at precisely controlled ratios to achieve ideal plasticity and perfect adhesion. Numerous modern studies have shown that the mineral composition of this clay is extremely uniform, with hardly any grit, allowing artisans to create ultra-fine details without worrying about cracks or damage during firing. But it wasn't just their mastery of materials that set Tlatilco craftsmen apart. Their modeling, forming, and carving techniques were truly exceptional. They didn't simply mold single blocks of clay, but skillfully assembled components such as hands, feet faces, and ornaments as separate parts, then joined them so seamlessly that the connections are nearly invisible. The incised lines and carved details on faces, hair, and clothing are all astonishingly consistent and sharp, even at the tiniest scale. Many figurines even depict bodily movement and highly complex daily life postures, like dancing, playing instruments, or carrying children, features that bring a sense of vitality and realism, as if freezing a moment of everyday life in clay, a level of artistry that wouldn't appear in Western art until ancient Greece. But their sophistication did not stop there. The level of surface decoration and finishing on these figurines is equally remarkable. What amazes archaeologists and chemists today is the layer of red, yellow, or black glaze that coats many of them. Most of the red tones come from natural iron oxide, but the hues are so vivid and long-lasting that they haven't faded even after more than 3,000 years underground. Analyses suggest that Tlatilco artisans may have invented or mastered secret methods for mixing special natural additives to preserve color exceptionally well while also controlling kiln temperatures with great precision. Even a slight deviation could burn or fade the glaze. Notably, some figurines are further decorated with rare minerals or fine gold powder applied to areas like the eyes, lips, or earrings, creating a refined and dazzling effect that seems almost unbelievable for the technology of their era. The firing process for Tlatilco figurines is itself a major mystery. Instead of firing at low temperatures that could cause cracking, the artisans managed to fire their creations in closed environments at temperatures possibly exceeding 900 degrees Celsius, a level that surpassed most other cultures of the time. Temperature and firing duration were controlled with extreme care. Too much heat would shatter the figurines, too little would leave them weak, and the glaze would not adhere properly. To this day, no one knows exactly what kind of kilns the Tlatilco people used, whether they had ventilation systems or secret techniques for controlling heat and air. But the outcome is clear. These figurines have survived almost perfectly intact to the present day, not cracked, not crumbly, not faded, far outstripping the standards of many other civilizations. However, the greatest mystery still lies in the tools they used. How could Tlatilco artisans without access to advanced metal tools create details just fractions of a millimeter in size with such consistency and precision? Some theories suggest they may have used fish bones, plant thorns, thin seashell shards, or even semi-precious stones as carving implements, but so far, no clear physical evidence of these tools has been found. Especially striking, many figurines feature tiny, perfectly regular holes on the ears, lips, or along hairlines, as if they were drilled with a superfine bit, applying completely uniform force and absolute precision. If done by hand alone, it would be nearly impossible to achieve such an industrial scale, hundreds of figurines with this level of detail. Some suggest that Tlatilco's craftsmanship is not just a product of dexterity, but proof of a sophisticated, long-standing technological tradition, even a craft secret, handed down from generation to generation. Mass production, uniform quality control, and diverse complex designs show that the Tlatilco did not make figurines for mere entertainment or for a small group. These were products for the community, major ceremonies, even for widespread trade throughout central Mexico. Not limited to technique, the artisans also displayed an artistic vision ahead of their time. Each figurine tells a story reflecting spirituality, beliefs, or deep-seated aspirations about life, death, rebirth, and mysteries no one has yet unraveled. Some researchers go further, asking whether the Tlatilco invented all these techniques themselves or inherited, perhaps learned from a now-lost civilization once existing in Mesoamerica. Techniques like high-temperature kiln firing, durable glazing, and ultra-fine detail sculpting are all achievements that even famous civilizations such as the Olmec Zapotec or even the ancient Maya would admire. Yet to this day, there is no evidence of technical exchange or the presence of any foreign master. That secret remains buried along with thousands of Tlatilco artifacts still to be unearthed. What makes the Tlatilco clay figurines one of the greatest mysteries of archaeology lies not only in their surreal and exquisite appearance, but also in a host of unanswered questions. Why is it that only the Tlatilco region produced such unique statues, both fantastical and lifelike, with craftsmanship that far surpassed neighboring areas in an era without written language? How did ancient people learn and pass down such refined secrets, ensuring that every generation of artisans maintained such an astonishing level of skill? Could it be that they once employed some primitive form of nano-engineering in mixing glazes and creating micro-details that have withstood the test of time? Or is all of this simply the result of knowledge accumulated over centuries? Many researchers still wonder whether these figurines served purely religious or ceremonial purposes, or if they were actually scientific tools for teaching anatomy, studying deformities, or even reflecting knowledge about the universe and multidimensional space in the minds of ancient Tlatilco people. Even more strangely to this day, excavations have yet to uncover any tools truly matching the level of technical sophistication these figurines display. All of this leaves the Tlatilco figurines an enduring mystery that continues to challenge the understanding of modern humanity. It is precisely these unsolved mysteries that have turned the Tlatilco figurines into unique symbols of ancient creativity and technology. They remind us that the intelligence and creative ability of ancient people could transcend all material limits, leaving behind immortal values of art and knowledge, even without a single written word passed down to future generations. If you've ever thought that the greatest mysteries of the ancient world were only found in the Egyptian pyramids or the statues of Easter Island, then turn your eyes toward the monumental stone domes rising from the barren landscapes of Greece, Crete, Sardinia, and Spain. Tholos Tombs are not relics buried beneath the sands of time. They stand tall through the millennia, defying both time and the intellect of the modern world. Far more than mere royal tombs, the Tholos are brilliant monuments to extraordinary engineering, where every stone and every curve is a lingering question. What secrets did the ancients use to build these colossal mortarless domes that have survived for eternity? Behind their silent appearance lies a story of intelligence, determination, and secrets that even today, humanity has only begun to scratch the surface of. What do you think was the real secret behind building the Tholos Tombs? Share your thoughts about these ancient mysteries in the comments below. The most recognizable feature of Tholos Tombs is their perfectly round shape with a beehive-like dome rising high, the inner diameter reaching up to 15 meters and heights over 13 meters, like the tomb of Atreus, the treasury of Atreus. All are built entirely of stone without mortar, using the corbelling technique to stack stones so they lean inward, distributing the weight downwards, enabling the dome to stand without any columns or metal reinforcements. The sheer task of moving gigantic stones, each weighing tons, into precise positions, then stacking them in perfectly curved layers, would be a challenge even for modern engineers without heavy machinery. Yet the Mycenaeans and their contemporaries accomplished this feat, and to this day, no one has definitively proven how they did it. If the Egyptian pyramids have always raised questions about how ancient people managed to build such massive stone blocks, then the Tholos Tombs present an equally chilling mystery, this time in the form of perfect stone domes. There are absolutely no records from that era, so everything we know about how the Tholos Tombs were constructed comes from archaeological excavations, studying the traces left on the structures and comparing them with other buildings from the same period. No construction logs, no builders' journals, not even legends have ever revealed the complete secrets behind how these stone domes were created. The stone stacking technology of the ancients continues to astonish researchers. The enormous stones, their cross-sections perfectly flat, were cut and fitted so precisely that not even a sheet of paper could slip between them, possibly thanks to skilled techniques with bronze or even harder stone tools. But how did they create gradually narrowing layers of stone toward the dome's summit, each turned at the precise angle and distributing weight evenly so that the whole structure would not collapse, especially when there were no three-dimensional blueprints or modern measuring instruments, this is still a topic of heated debate. Some scholars suggest that the ancients may have built up a mold from earth or rubble and then stacked the stones on top, removing the fill once the dome was complete. However, this theory is challenged since there is no trace of compressed soil or leftover rubble in the largest tombs. Furthermore, the task of transporting such massive stones to the heights needed for the upper layers using only the primitive tools of the era has yet to be successfully recreated today. Even deeper is the mystery surrounding the origins of Tholos construction techniques. This type of tomb appears in many places mainland Greece, Crete, with the Minoan civilization Sardinia, where they are called Nuraghe, Spain, Los Millares, and even as far as central Turkey, Hattusa. Was the domed stone building technique an independent invention in each region, or did it spread along ancient trade migration or military routes from Egypt or the Near East? In Old Kingdom Egypt dome, architecture was mostly used for houses, not for large stone tombs like the Tholos. Some evidence in Crete, dating from around 2000 to 1450 BC, even shows that domed tombs there predate those on mainland Greece, which leads to the theory that this technique may have spread from the island to the mainland when the Mycenaeans took over Minoan lands. But in Sardinia and Spain, Tholos tombs were built hundreds of years apart, separated by vast distances, and display distinct architectural features. All of this raises an even bigger question. Did there once exist a vast network of shared technology that we have yet to discover? Or is this simply evidence of parallel intelligence, separate civilizations without any direct contact, arriving at the same remarkable solution? The materials and craftsmanship techniques of the Tholos tombs also present a significant puzzle for researchers. Many of these tombs were constructed from limestone, sandstone, or basalt, and in some cases, the stone was quarried from sources located tens of kilometers away from the building site. The method by which ancient builders locked the stones in place so that they would not shift or slip over time remains unexplained. In some sites, archaeologists have found evidence of wooden wedges being used, while in other sites, there is absolutely no trace of any such supporting material. Particularly noteworthy are the entrances dromos of many Tholos tombs, which can extend 30 or 40 meters with stone walls on either side stacked as straight and smooth as fortress ramparts, leading directly to the main tomb entrance, often sealed by stone slabs weighing several tons. How the ancients managed to excavate these trenches and build such stable walls without collapse, especially in regions with frequent rain, remains a major mystery of ancient construction techniques. Even more complex is the dome itself. The summit often features a small ventilation opening called an oculus, which is structurally the weakest point. Yet it bears the weight of hundreds of tons of earth and stone piled above. This suggests that ancient builders had an extremely precise understanding of force distribution and structural engineering, far surpassing what we typically imagine about the technology of that era. Numerous attempts to reconstruct Tholos domes using real stone in modern times have shown that when the dome is dismantled, the structure often collapses or develops cracks, indicating that there are still unknown factors, secrets that the ancient builders mastered but that remain unsolved by modern engineers. Many large Tholos tombs were looted as far back as antiquity, yet the quantity of grave goods left behind and the richness of precious metals, ceramics, weapons, and gemstones still astonish modern scientists. Some tombs contain multiple layers of human remains interspersed with strata of grave goods, raising suspicions that Tholos tombs were reused across many generations or perhaps even served as major ceremonial centers, rather than just individual burial sites. In contrast, there are Tholos tombs discovered in a completely empty state, with no remains or artifacts whatsoever, which only deepens the mystery surrounding their origins and true purpose. Particularly notable are the carved motifs, abstract drawings, and undeciphered symbols scattered throughout the domes and along the entrance passage, dromos, hinting at a belief system or ideology that remains unknown, possibly related to sun worship, astronomical rituals, or faith in the soul's journey after death. Some romantic scholars suggest that the Tholos tombs are not just graves, but gateways between worlds where rituals of rebirth or astronomical observations took place. Many tombs have entrances facing sunrise or aligned with major stars. Some believe that the very mystery of the Tholos' origins and construction gave rise to legends of lost knowledge, the secrets of ancient ancestors, or even the handiwork of a prehistoric super-civilization from which we now find only fragments in the archaeological record. Over thousands of years, and through countless upheavals of both nature and humanity, the Tholos tombs have continued to stand tall beneath the sky, relentlessly challenging every attempt by modern scholars to unravel their secrets. From the process of constructing vast domes and stacking stones without mortar to transporting materials and calculating load-bearing capacity, every aspect remains a puzzle with no complete answer. The origin of their stone vaulting technique, whether it is an indigenous invention or the result of intercontinental diffusion, remains one of humanity's greatest historical mysteries, on par with the questions surrounding the Egyptian pyramids, the statues of Easter Island, or the stones of Stonehenge. If one day we succeed in deciphering the Tholos Code, entirely new doors of historical knowledge, of human ingenuity, power, and the extraordinary achievements that our ancestors built with their own hands and minds may open, and along with them, perhaps the secrets they never intended to fully reveal to posterity. Deep within the northern forests of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, there lies a cave that seems silent before the passing of time, yet in reality whispers profound tales about the origins of human intelligence. This is Sibudu Cave, a treasure trove of archaeology that has opened a doorway to the past, where the groundbreaking inventions of our ancestors are marked by layers of sediment, fragments of bone, and strange artifacts that astonish even modern science. Unlike ordinary prehistoric sites, Sibudu is not merely a dwelling place, but truly the first laboratory of human intellect. Here, archaeologists have discovered a series of traces revealing that ancient Homo sapiens not only survived, but also relentlessly sought, created, and experimented with new strategies to conquer their world. In the shadows of this cave, each step in the evolution of intelligence and survival strategy unfolded, and many mysteries of that process remain unsolved to this day. What do you think motivated our ancestors at Sibudu Cave to develop such extraordinary intelligence and creativity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Since ancient times, when lands elsewhere on Earth still lay in the darkness of wilderness, the inhabitants of Sibudu had mastered sophisticated tool-making techniques far ahead of their era. Not only did they sharpen stone blades, but they also attached stone points to wooden shafts using plant resin, a sign of abstract thinking and long-term planning. Imagine a prehistoric person extracting sap from tree bark, grinding red earth, mixing it perfectly with ash and water to create adhesive. All this demonstrates their analytical ability, experimentation, and technical refinement like a true primordial scientist. Researchers have found hundreds of fragments of such composite weapons in Sibudu, proving that this place was once a hub of technological innovation. The advent of adhesives was not just a minor invention, but a leap in cognitive ability, allowing the creation of more effective hunting weapons and opening up entirely new survival possibilities. One of the most remarkable discoveries at Sibudu is the evidence of small, lightweight spear tips likely launched by atlatl spear throwers, not merely thrown by hand. This invention completely changed the rules of survival. Striking from a distance not only allowed humans to target large, dangerous prey, but also required group coordination, role assignment planning, and kinematic calculations, things only a highly developed brain could achieve. The making and use of long-range weapons raise a multitude of questions. How did our ancestors calculate throwing force, wind direction, distance? Who thought of reinforcing spear tips with resin? And how was this knowledge passed on? The archaeological layers at Sibudu show repeated technological refinement over time, evidence that knowledge was shared, tested, perfected, and developed as a collective science. Beyond technological progress, Sibudu vividly reflects the flexible and creative survival strategies of ancient people. Layers of grass mats found on the cave floor, made from aromatic grasses to repel insects, stand as living proof of their concern for hygiene, health, and even comfort in harsh environments. Moreover, fossilized food remains show that Sibudu's people did not rely on a single food source, but adapted according to seasons and environmental changes. In dry periods, they hunted small animals and foraged for wild fruits. In wetter times, they turned to hunting larger species or fishing. This demonstrates observation, anticipation, and adjustment in their living strategies, qualities deeply linked to intelligence and continuous learning. Apart from practical inventions, Sibudu also preserves traces of artistic and ritual thinking. Pieces of red earth show signs of abrasion, indicating they were used for dyeing or decoration, possibly for rituals marking identity or communicating messages within the community. Although no cave paintings have been found, as in Europe, the presence of coloring materials and the meticulous crafting of utensils show that Sibudu's people had already stepped into the world of symbols and meaning beyond mere survival needs. This was the beginning of art, religion, and perhaps even humanity's first culture where abstract thought, imagination, and the ability to inspire began to emerge. The greatest mystery of Sibudu is the strange discontinuity in the trajectory of intellectual development. Many technologies and techniques first appeared at Sibudu, like composite weapons, adhesives, long-range weaponry, then later disappeared from the archaeological record for millennia, only to reappear elsewhere. Perhaps these techniques were not fully transmitted, or environmental and social upheavals forced people to change direction, or perhaps it was simply the rise and fall of innovation centers. The question arises, was Sibudu a unique bright spot, or did a network of intellectual centers once connect across Africa, now erased by time? Does human intelligence evolve linearly or in brilliant fleeting bursts, like campfires in the dark? Today, Sibudu Cave is not just an archaeological site, but a witness to humanity's tireless intellectual ascent. What our ancestors achieved here, from crafting weapons, creating tools, improving shelters, to experimenting with colors, laid the foundation for all later technological, artistic, and scientific achievements. Each new discovery at Sibudu opens another question. How could such ancient minds innovate so far ahead of their time? How many mysteries still lie hidden in those sediment layers? And is modern intellect truly continuous progress, or just another spark waiting to be kindled by future new Sibudus? Sibudu Cave is living proof that intelligence and creativity are not the exclusive property of the modern world. From the deep darkness of the earth, ancient peoples sowed the seeds of cognitive revolutions, creating outstanding survival strategies, sometimes rising, sometimes forgotten, but ultimately merging into the endless flow of human history. Sibudu remains waiting for new mysteries to be told and reminds us all, whoever we are in any era, the will to live, to create, and to rise remains an undying flame in the human heart. Hidden among the barren rocky hills of northern Syria, the Ain Dara Temple stands not just as an ancient relic, but as a stone message sent from a distant past, a place filled with countless mysteries of religion, mythology, and construction technology that continue to astonish modern scientists. Lying quietly on the edge of Ain Dara village in a region that was once the heart of the Aramean kingdom thousands of years ago, this temple has survived, witnessing the ups and downs of human history, and still holds within itself secrets that remain unsolved to this day. What do you think is the most mysterious thing about the Ain Dara Temple? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Ain Dara Temple was constructed sometime between the 14th and 8th centuries BCE during the brilliant era of the Aramean civilization, one of the major cultural centers of the ancient Near East. The first thing that makes Ain Dara special is its architecture, which is almost identical to the famous temple in the Bible, Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem. This similarity goes beyond the overall layout: three main parts, portico, main hall, inner sanctum, to the arrangement proportions, and even the carved details. This has led to theories that Ain Dara was either a prototype for Solomon's Temple, or that both reflect a shared architectural tradition that once spread throughout the Mesopotamian and Near Eastern world. The space of the Ain Dara Temple features a long staircase leading up to a wide portico, followed by the main hall, and finally the inner sanctum, a space said to be off-limits to commoners, accessible only to high priests or powerful figures. Everywhere you look, massive slabs of basalt and grey limestone are stacked and joined securely, some weighing dozens of tons, not to mention statues of lions, sphinxes, and mythological bas-reliefs covering the walls, stairs, and entrances. Right at the very first steps, two gigantic footprints, nearly 1 meter long, are carved into the stone, with another footprint found deeper inside the main hall, making anyone who visits wonder, what do these represent? Did a god once walk into this temple, or are they metaphors for the divine presence among mortals? Some believe these were part of inauguration rituals. Others link them to legends of giant gods from ancient Mesopotamian religion. Whatever their true meaning, these footprints contribute greatly to the mysterious aura surrounding Ain Dara. One of the most fascinating mysteries of the Ain Dara Temple lies in how its massive basalt and limestone blocks were transported, assembled, and sculpted with near-perfect precision. The stones used for the foundation's walls and other major architectural elements often weighed from several to dozens of tons. In an age with no machinery, cranes, or modern equipment, it remains difficult to explain how ancient Syrians could cut, move, and erect these enormous blocks safely, accurately, and so durably that they have lasted for thousands of years. Many researchers theorize that such feats could only have been accomplished with vast teams of laborers and a combination of pulleys, levers, and inclined planes. However, there is no concrete archaeological evidence that such devices were ever actually present at Ain Dara. Especially remarkable is the challenge of moving extremely hard and heavy basalt blocks over rugged, hilly terrain, then installing them so that every edge and angle fit perfectly, a task requiring not just technical skill, but also advanced knowledge of mathematics and physics. Like many other grand structures of ancient Mesopotamia and the Mediterranean, Dara employed dry stone, joining techniques at key load-bearing points. The stones were hand-cut and fitted together so tightly that even a knife blade cannot be slipped between them, helping the structure withstand ground shifts, minor earthquakes, and the harsh effects of weather and time. It is impressive that after more than 3,000 years, the temple's walls, steps, and foundations remain sturdy and intact, while many modern constructions just a few centuries old have already deteriorated. Some studies indicate that the masonry at Ain Dara even shows an understanding of natural locking. The stones were not only held together by their sheer weight, but also carved with protrusions and sockets that allowed them to lock firmly into place, making the walls resilient against weather war and earthquakes. The mysteries are not limited to construction techniques. The art of sculpture at Ain Dara also raises significant questions. Lions, statues, sphinxes, and bas-reliefs of deities were all carved directly from the hardest basalt blocks, with precise proportions and lines that are both soft and strikingly sharp. To create such monolithic statues, craftsmen must have possessed extremely hard tools, exceptional skills, and a high level of mathematical and artistic understanding. Some experts even speculate that ancient artisans may have known methods for heating stone or using special chemicals to aid in carving, though there is no concrete evidence to confirm this theory so far. In addition, from the smallest spiral motifs and stylized animal figures to the large bas-reliefs covering the entrance, every element at Ain Dara reveals a high degree of design unity and consistency. This suggests that the temple was not constructed in a piecemeal fashion, but was the result of an overarching technical and artistic plan requiring the coordinated efforts of many skilled craftsmen, all following a common blueprint or reference system. This degree of coherence may also indicate that at the time, Aramean society had developed an organized management and supervision system for construction, a rarity in the Iron Age. Finally, the advanced construction and sculpting techniques found at Ain Dara also demonstrate possible technological exchange with neighboring civilizations such as the Hittites, Assyrians, Babylonians, and even Egyptians. Some architectural and artistic features of Ain Dara are strikingly similar to those seen in famous sites like Solomon's Temple, Tel Halaf, and Tel Tayyinat. This raises a major question. Did there once exist a secret network for transferring technology, construction knowledge, and artistic skills among ancient civilizations, one that modern history has yet to discover? Throughout Ain Dara, bas-reliefs and statues of animals and deities are abundant, from guardian lions at the gate, eagles with spread wings, to half-human, half-animal figures, all evoking the mythologies of ancient Mesopotamia, Aram, and the Hittites. Each carving seems to carry some ritual, legendary, or religious code whose meaning remains undeciphered today. The true purpose of the temple is itself a major enigma. While many believe Ain Dara was dedicated to Ishtar or Baal, the chief deities of the Mesopotamian pantheon, no definitive records survive. The ceremonies and rituals conducted in the temple, the roles of priests, attendees, and offerings, all have faded into oblivion with time. In 2018, a large portion of Ain Dara was destroyed by bombs during the Syrian conflict. Around 60 to 70% of the structure vanished forever, taking with it invaluable archaeological evidence and any chance of fully restoring or deciphering the mysteries of this once brilliant Aramean civilization. This tragedy has made the value of what remains even more precious and deepened the mysteries of Ain Dara since so many questions may never be answered. Ain Dara is not just an ancient temple, it stands as clear evidence of the creativity and technological advancement of people from long ago. Even though much of the structure has been destroyed, the mysteries of its construction, sculpture, and organization remain a great challenge for the modern world. Even if we can only offer theories, Ain Dara continues to convey a message about the power of human creativity and serves as a reminder of a brilliant, mysterious civilization of the past. On humanity's journey to explore the world's greatest heritage, we sometimes encounter creations that transcend the boundaries of their own era, bronze riddles that challenge both history and modern science. The Baekje gilt bronze incense burner, also known as the gilt bronze incense burner of the Baekje Kingdom, Korea, is a quintessential example of such a wonder. Not only does it shine with breathtaking beauty and artistic depth, but this relic also harbors within itself a multitude of secrets about ancient craftsmanship so profound that even today's scientists remain astonished and skeptical. How could artisans of the past create something so intricate and enduring when all they possessed were the simplest of handmade tools? What do you think? How do you believe ancient artisans were able to create such a masterpiece with only simple tools? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Discovered in 1993 in a royal tomb at Nungsan-ri, Korea, the Baekje gilt bronze incense burner stands about 64 centimeters tall, weighs 11.8 kilograms, and is made up of three main parts: a dragon-shaped base, a body shaped like a mythical mountain, and a lid adorned with a phoenix and magical clouds. On its body and lid is a miniature world with hundreds of lively details, mythical figures, musicians, dancers, wild beasts, exotic birds, plants, streams. All are rendered so exquisitely that each time you look, you discover new features, new layers of mystery. However, what makes this burner truly monumental and controversial is its mysterious technology of craftsmanship. The first thing that astonishes researchers when examining the Baekje gilt bronze incense burner is the perfection in the casting and assembly of its components. Each part of the burner was created separately, yet they are joined so discreetly that there is no trace of welding screws, rivets, or any kind of adhesive. Every joint is seamless and fits together with absolute precision, even though the overall shape is incredibly complex, with winding dragons, undulating mountains, swirling clouds, and twisting phoenixes. Modern metallurgists have attempted to replicate this technique, but if only using ancient hand tools, such precision seems almost unattainable. This leads to a major question: what methods did the Baekje artisans use to achieve such a level of skill? Many theories have been proposed. Perhaps they used lost wax casting, or assembled the parts using hidden mortise and tenon joints, or even employed special alloys that could alter their properties after joining. Some opinions also mention the natural threading method, but all of these remain mere speculation, as in reality, no one has been able to fully explain how this artifact could remain so solid for thousands of years without coming apart, loosening, or deforming. If we examine the finer details, we are even more amazed by the work's intricacy. On the body of the burner, figures as tiny as the tip of a toothpick or a fingernail are depicted with vivid expressions, intricate costumes, and highly realistic musical instruments. Animals like deer, horses, tigers, and gibbons also appear with lifelike postures, cleverly integrated into mountain landscapes, caves, and bushes with extremely accurate proportions. Many modern artisans have tried using magnifying glasses, various enlarging devices, and even laser micro-machining to reproduce these details, but none have managed to achieve the same sharpness and spirit as the original. This raises another question. Did the ancients possess some special tools or techniques that are now lost, or was their level of craftsmanship simply far beyond what we imagine? Chemical analysis shows that the bronze alloy of the incense burner contains very rare elements and impurities, giving it optimal hardness and ductility, and making it highly resistant to oxidation or corrosion over time. In particular, the technique of gilding the bronze surface amazes everyone. The gold layer is extremely thin, even and firmly adheres to all the complex relief details without flaking off after more than 1,300 years. How could they evenly gild into narrow crevices, deep holes, or twisted surfaces without using modern electrochemical techniques? Some people believe they used heat gilding, rolling the object in a special solution, or mixing gold ore powder with natural binders before firing. Yet all modern attempts at recreating this have failed to reach the same adhesion gloss and smoothness as the original artifact. This turns the burner into an indestructible gem of ancient metallurgy. Furthermore, this burner demonstrates the pinnacle of ancient mechanical engineering. It is not merely a static object. It contains many uniquely movable parts. The lid can be rotated. Vent holes are arranged ingeniously to create the effect of incense, smoke drifting through clouds. The phoenix at the top can be removed or its angle adjusted, and the dragon base embraces the body without any welds, yet remains sturdy, allowing gentle movement. To assemble and move these parts without scratching or distorting them requires kinematic fitting of extraordinary precision, so much so that even modern engineers using CNC technology and laser cutting must make extremely careful calculations, while Baekje artisans accomplished this over 13 centuries ago with only hand tools. It can be said that this is a one-of-a-kind artifact with no other copies found in Korea or East Asia, and no records describing similar workshops. Some scholars believe this is a unique masterpiece made exclusively for the king or high priests, created by a mysterious group of master craftsmen under strict protection. Some theories suggest the master craftsmen were foreigners, possibly from India, Central Asia, or China, or that they learned techniques from the western regions via the Silk Road, but all evidence remains very vague, which only adds to the artifact's mystery. For this reason, not only archaeologists, but also many art history and metalworking experts from Japan, China, and Europe have all admitted that the Baekje gilt bronze incense burner has reached a height that is nearly impossible to replicate, using only traditional handcraft techniques. Professor Kim Won-yong, Seoul National University, once remarked, "This is the pinnacle of ancient East Asian metalwork. I do not know what technique they used. I only know that no one has been able to reproduce it." An art conservation expert from the British Museum, upon direct examination, also had to acknowledge the gilding technique at this level even surpasses many European Renaissance pieces. Even modern artisans who attempt to recreate it can only exclaim, perhaps they had secret alloy recipes or micro-mechanical tools that have been lost forever. Apart from the enduring fascination with its mysterious manufacturing technology, the Baekje gilt bronze incense burner also possesses a unique artistic value and a profound spiritual depth that is hard to fade. Upon its surface, a miniature world unfolds, subtly blending ancient cosmological views, legendary myths, and philosophical reflections on life and death. Mythical figures, musicians, and various animals are vividly depicted, symbolizing the pure land, the realm where souls are believed to journey after leaving the turbulent earthly world. The overall structure, from the dragon-shaped base and mountainous body to the phoenix and cloud lid, creates an interconnected unity between heaven-earth deities and humans, vividly reflecting the concept of a three-tiered universe characteristic of East Asian cosmology. After more than 1,300 years, the Baekje gilt bronze incense burner still gleams as it did when first made, yet the secret of its creation remains unrevealed. This relic is not only a symbol of Baekje civilization, but also an unsolved riddle, challenging all modern technology. It's a message. There are ancestral secrets and wisdom far beyond what we imagine, and sometimes history, art, and science converge to create immortal wonders forever out of reach of present-day humanity. There are mysteries buried beneath the jungles of Central America for millennia, silently challenging the intellect of our modern world. Not the grand pyramids, nor hoards of gold and silver treasures. Rather, it is the quiet stone walls covered in vibrant colors as if freshly painted yesterday. San Bartolo, a name once lost to oblivion, has suddenly resurfaced, reminding us that ancient Maya history still holds countless secrets that remain unsolved. When the first murals were revealed beneath layers of decaying earth and stone, archaeologists were stunned. How could the art of the pre-classic Maya have reached such perfection and resilience? The vivid colors, the sharp lines, and the craftsmanship seem to surpass the imagination of any civilization of that era. The San Bartolo murals are not just works of art, they are a declaration that challenges every limit of our understanding about technology, belief, and the creative power of ancient humanity. What do you think is the greatest secret behind the San Bartolo murals' incredible preservation and artistic perfection? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Before the discovery of San Bartolo, researchers believed Maya mural art only reached its peak during the late Classic period, 7th to 9th centuries CE, when cities like Bonampak Palenque or Tikal showcased enormous, vividly colored and intricately detailed wall paintings. But San Bartolo turned all of that upside down. The murals here date from around 100 BCE to 100 CE, centuries before Maya art entered its so-called Golden Age. What's astonishing is that despite their ancient origins, these paintings display a level of artistry and technique that rivals any work from the later centuries. The walls at San Bartolo unveil an entire symbolic universe, from the birth of the maize god to blood rituals, the tree of life, and the enthronement of the first Maya king. Yet the most mysterious and hotly debated aspect is the secrets behind the Mayas' painting technology and their timeless preservation of color. Even after being buried underground, enduring tropical heat, humidity, mold, and the ravages of time, the colors on the San Bartolo walls remain astonishingly vibrant. Vermilion red, golden yellow, azure blue, jet black, and ivory white are blended with subtlety, creating striking visual depth in every mythological scene. The Mayas' color-making technique used not only natural minerals like hematite for red and ochre for yellow, but also harnessed their legendary Maya blue technology. Maya blue is one of humanity's most breathtaking inventions, a combination of organic indigo dye and the mineral palygorskite, producing an indestructible turquoise shade that resists sunlight, acids, and even the growth of mold and damp for thousands of years. To this day, how the Maya developed and mastered this technology is still debated. How, with primitive technology, could they control temperature reactions and precisely mix components to produce a color of such enduring brilliance? Unlike the traditional Roman fresco technique, where paint is applied to wet plaster, San Bartolo's murals used a much more complex process. The wall was coated with a layer of pure lime plaster, polished to a mirror-like sheen. On this white base, Maya artists first sketched the main composition in black or earth brown, usually with ultrafine animal hair brushes, then applied successive layers of color, letting each layer dry before adding new details. This required not only masterful skill, but also highly synchronized teamwork between artists and material preparers. As a result, the images have visual depth and a sense of movement, unlike the flatness found in many ancient murals. Shadows, lighting effects, and ultra-thin outlines, all executed with such finesse that even modern archaeologists are often left baffled. When magnifying the details, researchers found incredibly tiny, dense lines, sometimes only 1 to 2 millimeters wide, painted entirely by hand, with no evidence of rulers or stencils. To this day, no one knows what materials the Maya used to create brushes capable of such ultrafine work on rough plaster surfaces. Moreover, the paint layers show zero bleeding or blurring, even after more than 2,000 years, demonstrating mastery in fixing pigments, controlling moisture, and binding agents far surpassing contemporary technologies in other ancient civilizations. The specific adhesive chemicals in their paints remain undetermined, possibly involving tree resins or secret organic compounds now lost to history. Some scientists believe that behind San Bartolo's surreal beauty lay a scientific artistry process developed and handed down through generations of Maya craftsmen. Chemical analyses indicate that the composition of each pigment layer was adjusted according to painting location, wall thickness, humidity, and the lighting of ritual spaces. This shows the artists were not only creative geniuses, but also chemists able to anticipate how materials would react to their harsh environment. There's a theory that San Bartolo was not only a site of religious rituals, but also an artistic laboratory, a place to experiment with pigment formulas and preservation techniques for posterity. Today, murals in different rooms of the complex have retained their color and adhesion to varying degrees, allowing modern researchers to compare the Maya's ancient preservation methods. A strange fact is that San Bartolo's advanced painting techniques appear to have emerged almost fully formed in Maya history, with no evidence of gradual evolution from cruder styles. Contemporary murals in other Mesoamerican cultures like Olmec or Izapa are nowhere near as refined. Did the Maya inherit these secret technologies from an unknown precursor, or did they themselves invent the entire system? This question remains controversial. Some motif symbols and even pigment mixing techniques at San Bartolo show hard-to-explain similarities with distant cultures like Teotihuacan, hundreds of kilometers away and belonging to a different civilization. Some have suggested a widespread network of artistic technology exchange across Mesoamerica, but evidence remains inconclusive. Alongside mythological scenes, San Bartolo's walls also feature some of the oldest Maya glyphs ever discovered. These characters not only hold religious and historical meaning, but might also encode formulas, painting techniques, pigment combinations, or preservation methods known only to master craftsmen or high priests. If this theory is correct, each San Bartolo mural is not just a masterpiece, but also a manual, a key to unlock a lost industry of creative knowledge. If the Maya developed such advanced color-making, painting, and preservation skills, why did most later murals lose their vibrancy compared to San Bartolo? This leads to several theories. Perhaps the secrets were kept within elite artistic or priestly circles, lost after social upheavals like war, famine, or the collapse of city-states. Or maybe San Bartolo's preservation environment was uniquely optimal, never replicated elsewhere. Some even speculate the materials themselves involved supernatural elements created through mystical rituals whose essence is still not understood today. While the exact answer remains elusive, it's undeniable that San Bartolo has radically changed how scholars understand the development of artistic technology in ancient America. It proves that thousands of years ago, the Maya mastered complex processes, creating works that defy time and knew how to protect cultural heritage through both art and science. San Bartolo murals will forever remain a thorny puzzle for scientists. Within every hue, every line, every layer of plaster are countless layers of memory, mystery, and messages that transcend all measures of time, space, and modern understanding. Nestled quietly on the edge of the northeastern desert of Jordan, el-Jimal is not only an ancient ruin, but also one of the largest and most intact basalt stone cities in the world, spanning many periods, from Roman Byzantine to the early Islamic era. Amidst countless pale limestone ruins scattered across the Middle East, el-Jimal stands out with the mysterious black of basalt, a volcanic material that built a monumental city enduring the harshness of nature and the flow of history. But what truly makes el-Jimal mysterious is not only the appearance of a black city in solitude, but the lingering, unanswered questions: how could ancient people quarry, transport, and stack such extremely hard basalt stones into houses, watchtowers, animal pens, churches, all with such complex architecture? How did a community manage to survive and even thrive amid arid conditions, blowing sand, and relentless historical change? These mysteries, through every stone and crumbling wall, still challenge the intellect of modern humans. What do you think is the greatest mystery behind how ancient people built this basalt stone city? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Unlike most ancient cities in the Middle East that were built using soft limestone, el-Jimal was constructed entirely from basalt, a type of volcanic rock with a glossy black color famous for its hardness and being extremely difficult to work with. The basalt stones here are not neat, easily stackable blocks, but mostly rough, angular pieces with all sorts of irregular shapes. In the harsh, arid climate, lacking water with summer heat, often exceeding 40 degrees Celsius freezing winters and constant winds, how ancient people managed to build houses, public structures, animal pens, and even water storage systems from basalt remains a major mystery. Studies show that each house in el-Jimal could use thousands of large and small stones stacked to form walls up to a meter thick and several stories high, often without any mortar. Vaulted roofs, staircases, and arches remain intact after nearly 2,000 years, having survived earthquakes, sandstorms, and many cycles of abandonment and resettlement. The precision of stone fitting the structural strength and the enduring durability of these buildings amaze even modern engineers. Especially remarkable is that no traces of sophisticated metal tools or large lifting equipment have been found. While quarrying basalt is extremely challenging. So how did ancient people cut these stones to the right sizes? How did they transport thousands of tons of rock across the harsh desert environment without large rivers or modern carts? And what secrets allowed them to stack dry stones without mortar, yet withstand the ravages of time over millennia? All of these remain unanswered questions, challenging researchers and igniting curiosity about the capabilities and construction techniques of ancient people. Stepping into el-Jimal, the first impression is not of a single ruin, but of a true city with hundreds of houses, watchtowers, churches, animal pens, interconnected through winding alleys. Notably, there are two-story houses, very rare in ancient architecture, monolithic basalt staircases, secret rooms hidden within thick walls, load-bearing arched doors, all using non-uniform basalt stones. One of the most astonishing features is the system of dry stone vaults. No mortar, no steel reinforcement, yet capable of bearing heavy loads and not collapsing even after strong earthquakes. Additionally, small window slots and doorways are cleverly arranged to reduce heat, ensure ventilation, and optimize daylight. A smart adaptation to harsh desert climate. The overall city planning is far from random. Houses are clustered around shared courtyards, enabling communal living and mutual protection during danger. Large structures, such as the Byzantine church defense towers checkpoints, are positioned strategically, proving thoughtful security and religious planning. Stone pens are built adjacent to residences, showing a lifestyle blending nomadic and settled habits with animal husbandry as a core activity. One of the most puzzling questions about el-Jimal is how a city with thousands of people could survive and grow in one of the most water-scarce regions of Jordan. The secret seems to lie in the incredibly creative system of water storage conveyance and filtration devised by the ancient inhabitants here. Archaeologists have discovered dozens of underground water cisterns dug deep into the earth, tightly lined with basalt stone and connected to channels that carried rainwater from rooftops and courtyards to be stored throughout the dry season. Remarkably, these reservoirs were designed with multiple compartments, allowing sediment to settle, keeping the water cool and limiting evaporation. Furthermore, the entire city was equipped with underground water conduits that could be sealed to protect the water supply from sand, wild animals, or intruders. In some areas, archaeologists also found deep wells and stone aqueducts used to bring water from distant sources, storing it for prolonged droughts. The greatest mystery is how ancient people could survey the land so accurately to dig wells and construct suitable reservoirs, or what methods they used to filter and preserve water year-round in the blazing desert heat without modern waterproofing mortar. Could it be that there are still technical secrets about water management, filtration, and preservation that we have yet to decipher? The architecture at el-Jimal not only met material needs, but also vividly reflected the social structure of its ancient inhabitants. Traces of hundreds of houses, many churches, stone animal pens, and defensive structures indicate that this was once a densely populated, tightly organized, and deeply religious community. The large two-story houses accommodated both people and livestock, maximizing space and providing warmth at night, while churches and religious symbols reveal a thriving spiritual life. Hidden rooms and watchtowers show that residents were always alert to the threat of invasion, and the marketplace and checkpoints played a key role as regional trade hubs. Thanks to these features, el-Jimal developed a network of daily life production and defense that operated effectively even amid the harsh desert environment. Inside the houses, churches, and stone columns of el-Jimal, archaeologists have discovered many mysterious symbols and ancient inscriptions that remain undeciphered, possibly remnants of ancient sects' references to deities' rituals or ownership marks. Some stone slabs also preserve lines of ancient Greek, Latin, and Arabic script, as well as primitive drawings like sun motifs and animals, indicating a strong history of cultural blending and upheaval. Legends say that this place once served as a gathering point for exiles, nomadic tribes, and minority religious groups, though the truth behind these stories remains a mystery. In particular, no research has yet determined exactly who the original builders of the city were, or clarified all the cultural layers accumulated over time. Additionally, some windowless rooms and small hidden compartments in the walls may be connected to religious rituals, the storage of sacred objects, or simply used as emergency food storage, further adding to the aura of mystery surrounding el-Jimal. For nearly 2,000 years, el-Jimal was abandoned and resettled many times. Archaeologists have offered various theories: prolonged drought, changing trade routes, tribal conflict, Roman-Arab wars, epidemics. Yet no evidence of major war mass graves or large-scale fire, the usual reasons for ancient city collapse, have been found. Instead, it seems that climate change depleted water sources and the decline of trade routes forced people to leave, leaving behind a nearly intact city, just the shadows and silent basalt walls witnessing history slip by. Over thousands of years, many structures in el-Jimal have remained standing amid the desert winds and sand, serving as vivid evidence of the intelligence and enduring resilience of ancient people. Today, this site is both an inspiration and a fascinating subject of research for archaeologists, construction engineers, heritage, conservation experts, and anyone passionate about exploring the mysteries of the past. However many great mysteries remain unsolved, from the advanced technology used to quarry and build with dry basalt to the self-sufficient systems for clean water and security in the heart of the desert, along with the enigmatic symbols, rituals, ancient customs, and the true fate of the Black City's inhabitants. Each new archaeological season brings further discoveries about construction techniques, interwoven cultural layers, and traces of belief systems, while many areas of the city still lie buried beneath the sands, promising to reveal even more secrets never before known in the future. El-Jimal is not just an archaeological site, but also a symbol of human adaptability and creativity in the face of harsh nature. Its black basalt walls, vaulted roofs, cisterns, and ancient symbols still contain many mysteries about the construction techniques, social organization, and communal strength of our ancestors. To this day, every stone at el-Jimal raises unanswered questions about how people built, survived, and how many secrets still lie hidden beneath the golden sands of this Black City. This is what gives el-Jimal its everlasting allure, making it one of the most mysterious and extraordinary cities of the ancient Near East. Nestled amid the vast deserts of Uzbekistan, Balik Tepe is not just a golden archaeological site on the map of Central Asia, but also a black box preserving countless secrets about the development of architecture, art, and technology among ancient cultures that once flourished at the crossroads of great civilizations: Persia, India, China, Greece, and the nomadic peoples of the steppes. While the murals of Balik Tepe often attract attention for their exquisite beauty and the mystery surrounding the origins of its peoples, it is actually the construction technology and building techniques of this fortress that have left archaeologists puzzled for decades. What do you think allowed ancient people to build the Balik Tepe fortress so solidly? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Balik Tepe is a defensive architectural complex and residence built primarily from fired bricks and stone, dating from the 5th to the 8th century CE. The structure stands atop a high mound surrounded by sturdy walls. From first glance, one can recognize its advanced construction level, surpassing most contemporary sites along the Silk Road. The walls of Balik Tepe are over 2 meters thick and nearly 7 meters tall in places that remain intact. This structure not only provided protection from attacks, but also withstood the harsh climate, strong winds, and the shifting desert sands. The bricks were made with impressive uniformity, stacked in multiple layers, using interlocking techniques which created enduring strength. One of the biggest questions is how ancient people managed to ensure stability for such a large structure on a sandy and gravelly-based terrain that is easily shifted by floods or underground streams. Modern surveys reveal that beneath the walls lie multiple foundation layers of stone and tightly packed gravel alternated with baked clay or brick fragments. The foundations of Balik Tepe feature a multi-layered design with materials swapped between layers to distribute force and prevent cracks from uneven settling or minor earthquakes. Large rooms were built atop thick wooden beams, which distributed weight more evenly and provided a degree of elasticity to help prevent collapse during tremors. Amazingly, most of these techniques are only now being applied in modern construction or are seen at a few major Persian sites such as Persepolis Pasargadae, but are extremely rare among Central Asian fortresses of the post-Kushan era. The bricks at Balik Tepe are unlike any found elsewhere in the region. Electron microscopy analysis shows that they were fired at higher than average temperatures, 800 to 950 degrees Celsius, increasing hardness and reducing water absorption. In addition, the mortar has a unique composition, a mix of mineral-rich clay plant ash, fine sand, and a small amount of quicklime or gypsum, ensuring strong adhesion and structural stability for centuries. Many wall sections still show traces of a stucco-like coating containing natural waterproofing agents, possibly from tree resin, which helped protect the walls from rare but acidic desert rains. Balik Tepe is not only a defensive fortress, but also a luxurious summer residence for the nobility. The climate here is extreme, scorching hot summers and dry, cold winters. Yet the interior rooms always maintain a remarkably stable temperature. The secret lies in air ducts built into the walls, functioning as a natural cross-ventilation system. Air from outside enters through small wall holes, travels along hidden ducts, and disperses evenly throughout the rooms. Some larger rooms have high ceilings with small vents at the top to allow hot air to escape, cooling the rooms in summer. Balik Tepe's drainage system is also a technical achievement. Along the fortress walls, the ancients built underground channels to collect and lead away rainwater, preventing soil subsidence and protecting the interior decorations. If the exterior is a stronghold, the inside of Balik Tepe is a dazzling world, where rooms are floored with ceramic tiles, walls are decorated with multi-layer murals, and domed roofs and pillars bear intricate carvings. Most notable is the banquet hall, where the murals retain their vivid colors, demonstrating the harmony between decorative art and architecture, rivaling the palaces of ancient Persia or Bactria. To preserve the colors, ancient artisans mixed mineral pigments with plant resin and applied them to still wet plaster, allowing the colors to penetrate deeply and last thousands of years. The geometric patterns, symmetrical motifs, human and animal figures were all painted with precise proportions, possibly using templates, cords, or custom compasses. Balik Tepe clearly displays a fusion of architectural styles. The walls and foundations reflect Persian Bactrian traditions. The multi-room layout with surrounding corridors, peristyle, is reminiscent of Hellenistic architecture, while the interior decor shows marked influences from India and Central Asian nomads. This raises the question, was there a team of skilled engineers and builders from different regions, or a group of multicultural chief engineers overseeing and integrating the era's most advanced construction techniques? To this day, even with archaeology and modern 3D reconstruction technologies having partially recreated the structure of Balik Tepe, many mysteries remain unsolved. Who was the true originator or transmitter of the advanced techniques for foundations, fired bricks, and waterproofing in such a remote region? Were they heirs to Iranian civilizations or migrant engineers from the East or India? How did people of the time manage to transport millions of brick, stones, lime, and water to the top of a hill without mechanized vehicles, across the sandy and gravelly desert? And why did this technical knowledge disappear, leaving later constructions in the area far inferior in both quality and scale after the decline of Balik Tepe? Many researchers believe Balik Tepe was the product of a golden age when the Silk Road was bustling and cultural and technological exchanges flourished between great civilizations. Yet, when war, climate change, and the fall of empires came, technical expertise gradually faded away, and many secret building methods were buried beneath the desert sands. Today, Balik Tepe inspires archaeologists, architects, and heritage conservators. The multi-layered foundation techniques, natural subsidence-resistant materials, hidden ventilation systems, and durable wall paints are all technological legacies ahead of their time. Many studies of Balik Tepe's materials and construction techniques are being reapplied in the restoration and renovation of historical monuments in Uzbekistan and Central Asia. The greatest lesson Balik Tepe leaves is the harmonious blend of understanding nature, technical innovation, and cultural exchange is the key to timeless achievements, and millennia-old mysteries still await future generations to decode. Balik Tepe is not just beautiful for its art, but also stands as a magnificent testament to the engineering ingenuity of the ancients. The fired bricks, thick fortress walls, ventilation systems, and multi-layered foundations continue to challenge the imagination and reasoning of modern experts. It is these technical mysteries that have elevated Balik Tepe into a symbol of endurance and creativity, a beacon guiding those who yearn to explore the roots of human knowledge at the crossroads of great civilizations. There are monuments that the more we gaze upon, the more we realize how little we truly understand the past. Chumash, Painted Cave, is one such place, a treasure trove of strange art and symbols hidden deep within the rugged cliffs of Santa Barbara, California. In this cramped space, where silent darkness reigns, vivid paintings stubbornly defy the passage of time, glowing on cold stone and posing countless questions that generations of scholars, scientists, and artists have yet to unravel. Every brushstroke, every patch of color here is not only evidence of a mysterious indigenous civilization, but also a challenge, a code left by the Chumash ancestors for the future, daring us to test the very limits of human knowledge in technology, art, and imagination. What do you think these mysterious paintings were really trying to tell us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The moment you enter the Chumash Painted Cave, you can't help but be awed by a world of strange symbols and an all-encompassing spiritual aura. Concentric circles, zigzag stylized suns, abstract animals, all seem to dance upon the dark stone vault. How did an ancient tribe without modern tools, synthetic chemicals, or manufactured brushes create masterpieces that have defied time? Before decoding the meanings of these signs, both scientists and artists have been astounded by the mysterious technology and techniques of Chumash painting. How did they keep these colors so vivid after more than 1,000 years? What materials, formulas, and processes did they use that still baffle modern science? The journey to uncover the secret of immortal colors in Chumash Painted Cave is a series of fascinating questions for modern archaeologists and chemists. Samples collected from this cave show that the primary colors, red, black, white, yellow, and brown, all originate from natural minerals. Red was made from finely ground iron oxide-rich clay, sometimes blended with natural red ores. Black resulted from soot finely ground charcoal or manganese minerals. White came from gypsum ground animal bone ash or white clay, while yellow and brown were made from ochre sienna limonite or goethite. However, what truly astonishes researchers is not only the identification of these materials, but also the way the Chumash people bound these minerals into an incredibly durable layer of paint. Some analyses have detected traces of animal fat plant resin or egg yolk in the pigments, helping to increase adhesion and water resistance. There are even hypotheses suggesting that blood or urine was used to enhance the durability and vibrancy of the colors. Not stopping at simply grinding minerals, the Chumash seem to have developed a secret formula mixed in extremely precise proportions, creating a layer of pigment that could penetrate deep into the tiny cracks on the surface of basalt rock. Under a microscope, the color layers in Painted Cave appear with a unique interwoven microstructure, both seeping deep into the stone substrate and standing out on the surface, helping protect the pigments from water temperature and even microbial damage. Remarkably, the red and black tones remain extraordinarily vibrant even after hundreds or thousands of years, despite fluctuations in climate, humidity, and light. In fact, many modern chemists have tried to recreate these colors with today's advanced technology, but still cannot achieve the same enduring effect. With a diversity of brushstrokes and shading, the paintings in Chumash Painted Cave show that the Chumash used a wide range of tools, brushes made from animal hair plant fibers or branches, direct hand application, or even their mouths to spray pigment, and possibly small stones or animal bones to carve, erase, or create special effects on the stone surface. Some paintings demonstrate spray painting or hand stenciling techniques, such as placing a hand on the rock and blowing pigment to leave a negative handprint, while other softly blended color patches required bleeding techniques and masterful control of water or fat, a level of skill that even modern artists must admire. Perhaps the strangest aspect is that many pigment layers in the cave were intentionally superimposed one layer over another, yet without smudging or losing definition, as if some natural glue preserved and protected each stage of creation. Many images were positioned to catch sunlight during festival seasons or oriented towards stars or the sun, proving that the Chumash paid attention not only to technique, but also to high-level composition and spatial arrangement. Although the symbols may appear scattered, they actually follow some kind of unwritten law, possibly representing spiritual maps, records of major events or cosmic cycles. Yet the sequence and true logical meaning behind these works remains something that modern science has yet to fully decode. Beyond mere technique, Painted Cave is a testament to creativity transcending harsh conditions. Imagine in a dark cave with only firelight and crude minerals, Chumash artists created works that have lasted forever, serving both spiritual rituals and as teachings for future generations. In many legends, the cave is regarded as a gateway to the spirit world. The use of color symbolism and even sound as painting might be accompanied by singing or prayers shows that the art here is not just visual, but a holistic experience, the art of living. To this day, archaeologists, chemists, and even restoration artists remain deeply puzzled by the many unanswered questions that Chumash Painted Cave presents. What is the true formula behind these immortal colors, and could there have once existed a secret ancestral recipe, now lost forever with the disappearance of the Chumash people? How were techniques such as color bleeding, hand stenciling, and layering of shades on stone accomplished using only the most primitive tools of prehistoric times? Some even wonder whether the Chumash possessed profound knowledge of physics, chemistry, or advanced preservation methods that modern science still cannot fully explain. In particular, the deliberate placement of the cave's images aligned with astronomical phenomena, the cycles of the sun and moon, has led many scholars to question whether the art here served not only as decoration, but as a means for the Chumash to record their cosmological worldview, or even to open a gateway to the spiritual realm. Many experts believe that if humanity could one day fully unravel the mysteries of the painting technology and artistry in Painted Cave, we would usher in a new era in our understanding of materials, heritage, preservation, and the power of art to inspire future generations for eternity. Compared to other world-renowned rock art sites like Lascaux, France, Altamira, Spain, or Australia's ancient caves, Chumash Painted Cave is equal in technical complexity and spiritual significance. In fact, the mystery of the Chumash's lasting pigments is all the more intriguing given California's harsh climate. Today, Painted Cave is not just a tourist destination, but a living laboratory for archaeology, materials, chemistry, and the arts. Every new discovery here helps to reveal deeper, previously unknown layers of human history. Despite strict protection, Painted Cave still faces many threats from nature and humanity: mold erosion, visitor impacts, and air pollution. Preservation experts constantly search for ways to protect the original pigments without altering their intrinsic material nature, a challenge that is far from simple. For today's Chumash community and indigenous organizations, Painted Cave is a vivid spiritual symbol, a reminder of a golden era of native ingenuity and a warning to humanity of the true value of cultural heritage. Chumash Painted Cave is not just an archaeological site, but a place that preserves the secrets of color technique and the ancient longing for immortality. The durability and complexity of its pigments remain a major challenge for scientists. Every time we contemplate Painted Cave, we are faced with an unsolved mystery about the intelligence and artistry of the Chumash ancestors, and perhaps only by preserving, cherishing, and continuing to explore it can we truly understand the message they left for future generations. There are discoveries that need no grandeur or gold, yet are powerful enough to shake the entire foundation of human science. Deep in the misty cold Loire Valley, in the silent darkness of the La Roche-Cotard cave, an artifact seemingly anonymous emerged, and from that moment, it unleashed a cascade of questions that challenge everything we once believed about prehistoric human intelligence. The La Roche-Cotard mask is just a rough stone, etched with a few lines with a piece of bone affixed at the position of a nose. But it is precisely this strange simplicity that becomes the key, unlocking the mysterious world of the Neanderthals, where even the tiniest trace can overturn the history of human creativity and emotion. Do you think the La Roche-Cotard mask was intentionally crafted by Neanderthals as a form of art, or was it just a strange coincidence of nature? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In 1975, a team of archaeologists led by Jean-Louis Heim accidentally discovered a strange stone slab while excavating the stratigraphic layers at La Roche-Cotard. The shock came not only from its human-like shape, but from the fact that it was paired with a long bone deliberately inserted into a deep hole in the stone right at the nose position. In a civilization where Neanderthals were once considered devoid of art, this artifact became a bombshell for prior assumptions about the intellectual and symbolic development of ancient humans. From the moment it was announced, the La Roche-Cotard mask ignited fierce debate between two opposing camps. One side believes it is a work of symbolic art, proving that Neanderthals understood the concept of the face could imitate human features and possessed abstract thinking. The other side claims it is all just a coincidence of nature. The rock already had a peculiar shape, and inserting the bone was nothing more than a random game played by cave dwellers. Either way, the central issue revolves around the question, did Neanderthals truly understand art and intentionally create this artifact with specific techniques? If the mask is a product of intent, it is an exceptionally rare proof of the ability to recognize forms and symbols, the very foundation of early art and religion. This would mean Neanderthals far surpassed conventional ideas of a species limited to hunting-gathering and mere instinctual living. The presence of elements, such as the face, nose, and eyes, even if only shallow grooves and faint depressions on the stone, demonstrates a complexity of thought no one expected. The core issue, and also the greatest battlefield among scientists, is the question of crafting technology. Unlike later stone sculptures, such as the Venus figurines of the Cro-Magnon, renowned for their extremely refined shaping skills, the La Roche-Cotard mask does not show off or exhibit elaborate features, but rather displays only the most subtle interventions, just enough to suggest the image of a face without clearly revealing the traces of human hands. This very simplicity has caused scientists much headache as they try to solve the mystery. Was this stone deliberately selected, or was it purely by chance? Some believe that the stone already resembled a human face, and the Neanderthals simply added the nose with a piece of bone to complete the image. Others, however, argue that even the act of searching for and choosing a stone of the right shape was already an intentional artistic action. Moreover, the deep hole into which the bone was inserted was not a natural crack, but shows signs of being hollowed and drilled with a sharp tool. This raises a major question. With only primitive stone tools, how could the Neanderthals create such a regular and deep hole? Several modern experiments have tried to replicate this process, but achieving a groove identical to the real artifact requires a very high level of precision and patience, far beyond what is usually imagined of hairy cavemen. Furthermore, the act of attaching the bone to the stone is equally controversial. If it was simply wedged in tightly, why has the bone remained intact after thousands of years buried underground? Did ancient people use some kind of natural adhesive like tree resin, blood, or clay, or perhaps some other fixing technique whose traces have vanished with time? Or is it all just a lucky coincidence, thanks to the accidental compatibility of the stone and bone structures? Compared to other contemporary sites such as Levallois stone tools or various bone artifacts, the techniques displayed on the La Roche-Cotard mask bear a strong mark of individual creativity and go far beyond the usual boundaries of practicality. Many Neanderthal artifacts that have been discovered show signs of tool use, such as incisions on animal bones or holes drilled into shells for making necklaces. However, most of these items were aimed at practical functions or served as simple ornaments. The La Roche-Cotard mask, in contrast with its imitation of a human face, introduces a completely different layer of meaning, reflecting artistic thinking and symbolic capacity, which are considered leaps in human cognitive development. Blades and sharp stone fragments found at La Roche-Cotard indicate that Neanderthals knew how to utilize stone tools for cutting, carving, and shaping, even though their techniques were still rather primitive and had not reached the refinement seen in later Homo sapiens. Notably, when some modern researchers attempted to recreate the mask using similar tools, they found that selecting a stone with a suitable shape was already a challenge. The process of boring a hole into the stone with primitive implements required many hours and extraordinary patience while fitting a bone fragment in such a way that it was balanced and truly resembled a nose proved to be an equally daunting task. These findings further reinforce the hypothesis that if the La Roche-Cotard mask was indeed intentionally made, its creator must have possessed an astonishing level of thought and skill, far surpassing the simplistic notions long held about our ancient ancestors. A particularly mysterious aspect is that the mask is a unique artifact. While sculptures or masks from Homo sapiens' time often come in dozens or hundreds of similar examples, the La Roche-Cotard mask still has no siblings to this day. This only increases its symbolic value, or perhaps it was a one-off creative spark, never continued, or similar artifacts have been lost forever. If the mask truly was a mask or head figurine, what was it for? Some suggest it related to burial rituals, as it was found near animal and human remains. Others believe it was an amulet, an ancestral symbol, or simply an ancient toy. However, there is no direct evidence, and its symbolic meaning remains a black hole in history. Debates about the mask are not just about a single artifact. They touch on the larger story. Who were the Neanderthals really? If the mask was a product of intention, the entire view of Neanderthals lacking abstract thought must be reconsidered. It also raises the question, how many of their artistic creations have been lost or undiscovered? Today, with three-dimensional imaging technologies and wear trace analyses, scientists continue to dissect the mask, searching for traces of tools, hand manipulation, or substances once used. Yet the La Roche-Cotard mask retains its shroud of mystery. No one dares claim 100% certainty about its crafting process, the specific technique, or its true purpose. The La Roche-Cotard mask is not just a stone, but a symbol of creativity, intelligence, and the unsolved mysteries of our ancestors. The debate over the craftsmanship of this mask is essentially a debate about the boundary between instinct and artistic thinking in prehistoric humans. Whether it was a coincidence of nature or a product of imagination, the La Roche-Cotard mask continues to raise profound questions about our evolutionary history.